Am I not live? Should be. Should be. Am I not? There we go. Tweet that. Why not? I'll do one of these. Why not? Why the fuck not? Pause this. Pause that. Pause that. This over here. Kwong offline. Whose video was that? That's actually a decent thumbnail. Oh, what the fuck? That's 6 years ago. Never mind. What the fuck? What was I doing? What was I doing? Yeah. Here we go. We're gonna talk some pred. Yo, you with the 3, bro. GG's, man. I remember you earlier. Or like from the other day or whenever that was. Hold on. Pause. Da, 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 da. All right, so you got stuck support. We got the W. Are you saying we did, or like the enemy team did? Because I don't remember winning a support game. I'm pretty sure. Was it this game? No. Huh? I don't support super often, so I'm not really sure what game that would have been. Are you sure? I remember playing with you recently, but I don't remember it being a support game. I don't play a lot of support. Wasn't it just this game? Yeah, it was this game. You got stuck with support. Ah, haha. It all makes sense now. That's funny. Yeah. Oh man, let's talk pred, y'all. So I'm gonna do something. I have a fun idea. I want to stream, but I might play the game, but I don't really want to play the game because I don't really like playing the game. So I'm going to do something that I did already, but I'm going to do it on stream. I'm going to rewatch the Design Time live stream from 3 months ago. What was the date? October 6th. So let's say November, December, January. Like, that was almost 4 months ago. Like, this dev stream was like 4 months ago. I already rewatched this whole thing today. And we're going to rewatch it again on stream and probably like talk about it and pause and share thoughts and stuff. That's what I think we're going to do. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to talk pred, but we're going to do it from the premise of the Design Time stream. And we're going to go from there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's predecessor live stream. I'm Stegs,
nice.
part of the community team
here
at Meta Studios, and today we are going to be doing a stream that I have lovingly called Design Time. It's a working title, don't judge me for this. We are going to be looking at some of our wonderful designers to answer...
Okay, I have to I know you helped out with Soul Reaper's list of changes, but did you have anything you add or change the list? So I didn't even help him with that. He made the list, and then I just like happened to read it with him and add a couple things here and there. Not really. I mean, I could probably think of things when it comes to balance, but here's my thing. Balance hasn't mattered for like a year. Like, it does, but it kind of doesn't. And the reason why is like, if the matches aren't fun to play and you're not playing for anything, then like who cares what the balance is, right? Like, balance will always need to be changed forever. So I don't care about balance. Like, I can play any hero in jungle. I don't care. Like, I'm good at every jungler except for like kind of Fang Mao. I just don't play him that much. But I'm good at every jungler. So like whatever's meta, I'll play it. I don't care. So balance to me like doesn't really matter, and it really doesn't matter. like it only matters if something is like broken and then it stays that way for like a year. then I think like it matters. Like if they never balance change the game, it would get boring, sure, but more often than not, like balance doesn't really matter to me. But I will say that I think like his like philosophical approach to design is better than Omeda's. Like the way that like Soul Reaper thinks about how the game should be developed is better than I think the way that the actual developers develop the game. Like him wanting to add more verticality to characters that already have dashes and stuff. Like, yeah, I agree with it. It makes no sense not to. It makes no sense not to like add more verticality to the game whenever that's like the selling point of Pred. So like little things like that, I think are worth exploring. All right. Yeah.
A few of your
so
questions,
let's dive into this.
My questions. And we're going to be talking about mainly designer stuff because, we've got designers with us. So it makes a lot of sense. Who are they? I hear you ask. Well, you're not because they're obviously on screen already. But we have the wonderful lead game designer, Mr. Alex Felton. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah,
glad to be here. Excited
for the stream. Yeah,
exactly.
I could probably skip a lot of the introduction stuff and just go straight in.
You sound thrilled. I can't
also,
wait.
I don't really care about talking about Seraph kit design because like it's kind of like this is like a time piece. Like they did this because it was relevant at the time, but I think talking about her kit design is pointless right now. Like for us.
Alongside,
so we're gonna go into hero acquisition.
Seraph, we also had the new hero acquisition feature that came in. Alex, can you just take us through how the system...
So for context, this dev stream is about 4 months old. It's just shy of 3 months or 4 months old on October 6, 2023. So just for context, this is about 4 months old for anybody that's like joining us.
Works with the next hero that's coming up.
Yeah, sure thing. So obviously, what we have in right now is like an early version of what the whole system will look like because everyone already has all of the heroes unlocked as part of the EA bundle. So we just added.
I kind of want to rename the stream. I think I'm going to rename the Twitch stream. Hold on. I am gonna I'm gonna rename both of them. Rewatching Dev stream. Yeah. Comma design time. Yeah, I want to retitle the streams, I think. Because I wasn't sure I was going to do this, but I do want to do this, so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
After the game, she came in at like 5 stages. The way it works, obviously, is she was automatically selected, but players will be able to select heroes they want to unlock, and then every match they play,
I think I'm also going to speed this up.
What hero they play on will gain XP to unlocking Seraph. And
what the fuck
requires.
Clear answer, thanks, Alex. Not that I'm not surprised. That sounded surprised. I'm not.
Reduce stage amount on maybe a 6 to 8 month cadence. We haven't really decided or confirmed it. It's something we'll look to address in the future. So even though Seraph is decided or
I need to
now is like an early version of what the whole system will look like because everyone already has all of the heroes unlocked as part of the EA bundle.
My first stream.
We just added Seraph to the game. She came in at like 5 stages. The way it works, obviously, is she was automatically selected, but players will be able to select heroes they want to unlock, and then every match they play, irrelevant of what hero they play on, will gain XP to unlocking Seraph. For the like whole range of cast, we are actually using different amounts of stages. So players that join us in later iterations of the game where not all of the heroes are unlocked, there will be heroes that only have 1 stage that need to be unlocked, 2 stages, 3 stages, 4 stages, and then all new heroes will have 5 stages to unlock, and then we will be looking to reduce stage amount on maybe a 6 to 8 month cadence. We haven't really decided.
I think I'm okay, so I'm gonna blow through this section really quickly of rewatching this and talking about it because it's old news now. For anybody that doesn't know, they had the hero acquisition contract system that was like a multi-stage unlock where you would essentially activate a contract and then you would put progress, experience points into that contract and unlock them. This was a terrible idea. It was on paper, it was a terrible idea, and it was something that I was like probably the most outspoken against, because it was just very obvious that this system was going to come with a lot of issues. Of which the main issue that it was going to bring was that it was just really restrictive, like super, super restrictive to the player. And it wasn't going to be a system that would feel good for new players. It was going to be like, I think, a little too punishing. So what I ended up doing was even making a graph or like a diagram explaining why this system was bad. And this doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to dive into it too much. But essentially, the contract system was all like this. I don't want to explain what this whole diagram looks like or what it means, but essentially, in short, the free-to-play currency was always going to be a better system than the contract system. And basically, after like 3 months of having the contract system in place, they have now committed to removing it. So I don't want to harp on this too much. I think they made a good decision. I think the worst thing that you have to recognize with them committing to the contract system is just the fact that, like, if they went with it at all, it means that they spent developer time building it, and like that makes me question their judgment a little bit, because the instantaneous minute that they announced it, I was like, oh, that's bad. So that means that I question their judgment a little bit, because if they couldn't have done the same thing that I did, where like to look at it on paper and recognize that it was bad, then it means that they spent months, or they spent time and effort and dollars paying developers to work on the system, and now they have to basically like redo that work, so to speak, right? Now they have to build out a free-to-play currency. Now they have to, you know, think about what the costs are going to be. So it's just a lot of wasted time. So like I said, I'm not going to harp on hero acquisition too much. I think what they did in scrapping this idea and changing it is good, but it sucks that they had to do that to begin with, right? Like, it sucks that they had to create a bad system, release it, like work on it, release it, push it out, gain feedback, and then fix it, right? Like, it sucks, because I think that was just obviously, like, it's just so much wasted time and effort, so that sucks. Ray said, I know you aren't the biggest fan of the speed of the dev team. Is this why you're revisiting the dev stream? I like to revisit the dev streams and like the dev blogs and stuff, because I think that there are a lot of things that happen. Let's duo queue. I mean, I'm not really playing right now. I think there's a lot of things that happen that we forget about. And like, so it's nice to, like, if I'm going to speak about the game, like at all, it's nice to like know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? So I think it's like nice to revisit these things and like put my ears and my eyes on it again, so that way I can have like a well-informed perspective, right? Because there's things that came up in this, and it's like, yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, I'm not gonna sit on the hero acquisition spot anymore. I'm also not gonna listen to them talk about balance patch V11, because like, who cares? We'll go straight into jungle AI improvements. So Soul Reaper, this is just shy of 4 months old. So this came out October 6th. So we're coming up on the 4 month. In a week, it'll be 4 months old. So this is, yeah, about 4 months old. So I'm not gonna. So I skipped Seraph Kit discussion. I'm gonna skip balance patch, and we're gonna go straight into jungle AI improvements. So, yeah, it's like reference material for. It's not even reference material for the podcast. It's just reference material for anything I want to talk about, right? Because the last thing I want to do is spit some bullshit, right? I don't want to go talk shit on Pred and then be wrong about something. So I like to look back at stuff like this, because it
a little bit now.
Gives me,
not too far, but just a little
information.
Bit we've got on our season 3 roadmap, we have jungle AI improvements. What sort of improvements are people going to be able to expect?
Wouldn't a contract work better for cosmetics and stuff? No, the truth is a contract system will never be better than a free-to-play system. The free-to-play currency system does everything that the contract system wants to do for hero releases, for cosmetics, for anything that you want to unlock, just better. And the reason why is that a contract system is restricted. It forces you to select something and then go after it. A free-to-play system doesn't have that problem at all. So, and that's why I was super adamant about saying like, oh, it's objective truth that like free-to-play currency will always be better, because it just is. Like, if you look at 99% of free-to-play games, they don't use they use a free-to-play currency, right? So it's simple, it's direct. Don't reinvent the wheel, just make it work and go from there. So
yeah, back from that, Blood.
Yeah, so kind of like Limport was saying, we want to make the jungle a bit less monotonous per se. So one of our main goals is to provide sort of a some more layers that the players can exploit to gain advantages over each other when clearing the jungle, just the more boring PvE part, whilst also trying to make it a bit more intuitive.
Why not play the game? This is 4 months old because I want to talk about it, and I don't like playing the game. I think playing the game is a waste of my time. I personally think that playing the game is just going to make me angry and is a waste of my time. So I would rather re-inform myself about the history of the game so that way I can speak on it with accuracy and provide a little bit of content for my own sake. Yeah. We can be angry together. No, I'm good. Why are there pronouns? Listen, I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm not a big, like, listen, I'm fine with inclusive language. I have no problems with anyone. I don't care if people want to rock their pronouns. If you tell me what your pronouns are, I'll be more than respectful. I'll use them. But to put shit like this, like, publicly facing on dev stream, I think this shit's kind of cringe. Maybe I'm bigoted for saying that. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. I think this kind of shit is cringe as fuck. It just feels super unnecessary, especially whenever the entirety of the show is all he hims. Like, it's not like they needed to do that to be inclusive to one of their own. It just feels so fucking cringe and forced. So it is what it is. Again, I don't have a problem with people pronouncing their pronouns. I don't mind. My pronouns are he, him, if you were interested. Why not? It's not a problem to me. I just think forcibly doing it is cringe as shit. So that's just my take, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I could give two fucks about this. So, yeah. What up, Sean? How's it going, bro?
Intuitive, like getting into jungling and MOBAs, and
it's like it is what it is, but it's like it's like inclusive language. I get it. I do.
How far can you drag them, for example? This is one thing we'd like to make much clearer where the boundaries of the camp are, and provide less sort of immediate punishment for players that drag the camps outside this sort of radius.
Were they forced? I mean, I'm not saying they were forced. I'm saying, like, it feels like a forced concept for the sake of, like, promoting yourself as, like, an inclusive company. And for all intents and purposes, it's probably a decent thing to do. It just feels like it's not necessary. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Make their pathing and attack patterns just a bit more natural. In general, this is going for all minions, not just jungle minions, but jungle minions first. We'd like their logic to more closely match a hero's logic in the way that their attacks work. So, for example,
we're talking about jungle AI improvements at the moment.
Minions attacking while moving, for example, and chasing targets while they attack, much similar to how heroes would do so, and just slow them down as they do that. With that, we're not trying to make kiting too difficult. If they can move while attack, it feels like they're probably able to keep pace with you. We're trying to maintain the same style in terms of, like, sort of how often you get hit in the current jungle, as long as you're moving appropriately. So this is using minions to body block other minions, and also how far you drag them outside the camp and towards other camps in order to improve your clear times. So all of these will still remain skills, and we want to increase the depth that way as well.
I just want to let them talk so I don't cut off every section.
Faster camp players this is dragging the camps away from danger or towards the next camp. Those are sort of things we want to look towards, rather than just standing on the edge trying to finish it off before you move on. Scared to, like, drag it away from that last little bit. And alongside that, we're also looking for the ability for jungle minions to also path more like heroes as well. So this is including, like, falling off ledges. Is one of the improvements we're trying to make so that they can.
I need to grab something for reference. I need to look at something. Okay, so for context, I have already watched all of this. I watched all of this earlier today, or, like, listened to it throughout the day. I had to go like 35 minutes out of town and then back into town to go get my tire replaced on my car. So I was listening to it while I was in the car. I've already done a little bit of this. Yeah, so one thing that I got from all of this blog post, and it was like a reminder. It's not like this is new information. It's just something I hadn't thought about. Is the concept of a season, dude, the concept of a season to me is way shorter than what they do. Like, this feeling of them being in a season, it feels entirely way too long. It feels way too fucking long, dude. Like, September to, like, August or whenever this shit's supposed to end, or what, I don't even know whenever this shit's supposed to end. I think everybody that engages with this game has probably lost the feeling of the fact that we're even in season 3. Does any, like, actually just, like, tell me yes or no. Does it even still feel like we're in season 3, or did you forget that that's a thing at all? Because I completely forgot that we're in season 3. I know what's coming up. I remember the hero releases, but like nobody, like, does anybody actually even think about it? Like, I feel like it's like, I don't know what being in a season means. Like, I feel like a season is either meant to be like a small period of time or like a full year, kind of like what Sockcap was saying. But when it comes to like development, I feel like this is like, it's way too big, because it feels like when you talk about introducing something, it's like easy to forget about the fact that they talked about introducing something. So like, for example, like jungle AI improvements, I was just about to start harping on the fact that like we haven't gotten those, right? But technically we're still in season 3. So I guess there's nothing wrong with the fact that they technically haven't given us jungle AI improvements. But it also, at the same time, it feels like they talked about it so long ago, it feels weird that we haven't gotten it yet. So I'm a little confused, right? Like, I'm confused. When I say I'm confused, it's like I'm confused about my own take here. Like, I don't actually have a concrete take here. Am I being unreasonable and feeling like this season is way too fucking long, and that like a season shouldn't be like 7 months or something? Or however long it's even been. I don't even know. Like 4 months, 5 months. I feel like it should be like, yeah, I feel like it should be drastically shorter than that. I don't know. I think league seasons are a year. Yeah, but like, I don't even know what a league season is, to be fair. Like, I can't even compare it. I just feel like it just feels like it's really, really long, and it's really hard to keep track of like what season we're actually in. And it also makes it feel like the things that they announced at the beginning of the season, it makes it feel like they. So here, let me try to reword this. Because they announced season 3 so long ago, it feels like they've actually failed to deliver on some of these. But that's not true. They haven't failed to deliver on some of these. The season's just so fucking long that we haven't gotten to the end of it yet. Does that make sense? So like, specifically because we're on the point of jungle AI improvement, like jungle AI improvement, I was just thinking like, damn, dude, they never did that. And it's like, oh, well, technically there's still time, right? So I don't know. I'm a little torn on this point. I'm not going to die on this hill or anything, but it does feel like, holy shit, dude, this season has been long. It's been grueling because we swapped to like the 6-week cycles. And yeah, it just feels really, really long. And it feels like, I think that they would benefit more from doing less bullet points and shorter windows of time. And that could be both from like the perception standpoint. Like, if they were to do seasons as 3 months and cut this list of features in half, I think that would do better for them, like marketing wise, because then people would be like, oh, this is what they promised, this is what they're shooting for. And I also think it could help them in their development pipelines, because then they could, instead of like, I don't know what it looks like for them to develop, I actually don't, but instead of them bouncing around internally working on a bunch of different things, maybe it would like lock them into focusing on a couple of different things. I don't know if that's true. I don't actually know how they develop, and don't know shit about developing games, if we're being honest. I mean, I understand like the industry and the markets and stuff, but I don't know how actual development's done. So I could be just totally off base here, but it feels like this is too long, and I think that they would actually benefit from like cutting their seasons in half. But that's just a personal take for now.
Chase people down ledges, if dragged outside the radius, at this point. Things like red buff especially.
This whole season was under promise, over deliver, remember? I do remember that, but I think that they have not. If this season is supposed to end next month, they definitely haven't over delivered. They're still like, account linking isn't in the game, which y'all can't even see this. It's like right here under my webcam. Account linking's not in the game. Jungle AI improvement's not in the game. Hero acquisition is. New controller layout, I think they did that. Twitch drops haven't happened. New UI did happen. The top 3 did happen. Did we get dynamic ping system improvements? I want to say that they did do that, but I don't remember it being that important. So like, as far as the whole concept of like under promise, over deliver, I don't even know if they've technically achieved on that either. I don't know. Let's be real. I think whenever they announced this season, I said this is going to be a long fucking season and it's going to be really grueling, and that's exactly about how it's felt. So
manipulate,
just feels really long.
Further, in order to then kite them towards other camps and far more efficiently.
I do still want this though. Yeah, like jungle AI improvements sound good.
Start at least.
Nice, I like it. Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds good for not just like veteran jungle players, but also beginner jungle players as well. It seems like these changes are going to help quite a lot just across the board.
All right, we're going to skip the hero affinity teaser.
Jungle,
so.
right?
Yeah, we'd like to make it very clear, like, when a camp is going to drop aggro from a
Actually,
player, so
no,
they
we're
don't
not.
just suddenly get surprised when it runs back and runs away from them and starts healing.
Because I have some criticism about this upcoming segment.
Better whilst also providing a less monotonous experience, more skill. Those are all sort of the goals that the AI are trying to accomplish so far.
Nice. Thanks, Blood. Okay, so moving on a little bit. Affinity, Alex. Now, I've got some on this stream. Shall I? Right.
It's going to show off the Drongo skin.
Reveal one of the affinity skins. Dun dun dun! It's Drongo with his affinity skin. Alex, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully this is not too unfamiliar to players. So, like, obviously, in Paragon there were master skins.
Okay, I was gonna be like quiet about my thought and then bring it up at the end of this segment, but I think I want to pull y'all into my thought and then have you kind of go through it with me. So, we're gonna listen to this small little segment about Hero Affinity teaser, right? Like in the Affinity system. This is pre-Affinity launch, and I want you to listen to the wording and to the verbiage and to the way that they explain the Affinity system. And I want you to tell me at the end of it if it at any time suggested that that shit was going to be paid for. At any fucking moment, did any of it ever sound like it was going to be paid for? I don't think that they go out of their way to make it sound free either, but I just think that if you were going to make it paid for, this would have been the perfect time to just be upfront about it, right? This would be the perfect time to just come out and say, this is what we're creating. I'm new at Pred. What's the time period between each hero? 6 weeks. It's very, very long between heroes.
Yeah, players could unlock these for heroes, and we basically they didn't come with the epic assets, but we recreated them using the Paragon original style skins as reference and implement them into Pred. So with the Infinity skin, the Infinity feature, every hero will get its Infinity skin, and that feature is planned to drop on the O12 update. No promises, but that's the current plan, and I'm hoping that we can deliver to that. So I'm really excited to see how the system is received and how people interact with it, and also what you guys think of the skins. And this image here is going to be part of the loading screen images, I believe. So obviously each skin has a loading screen.
I think this one
image.
might just be a wallpaper, Alex.
Oh, okay, maybe this is just a wallpaper.
That's my fault.
I don't know. Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, there will be let's say high quality loading screen art like you're used to seeing from all of our skins. So yeah, these will be coming with that system.
That's it. And we will have a dedicated blog, but maybe a video, maybe a blog, to go through this new system a little bit more.
So, what was that blog? Again, I'm not catching back up on everything that's happened, right? Hero Affinity, was this the blog where they announced that it was paid? I'm guessing they did at this point, right? I just think that I think if you wanted to make a system that was paid, you held that information far too long, right? Like, you should have eased us into that system. Because I still think making Affinity paid is a giant mistake. I still think it. I do. I absolutely think it's a mistake. But also, if we want to look back at this now, when did they launch this, right? October 23rd. So it's been about 3 months since Hero Affinity came out. We still do not have a free path to unlocking this. Just saying. Like, you can... I mean, I would love to hear opinions on why that's acceptable. But it's been 3 months and you have this huge system that was supposed to be the biggest content influx, right? Like, for us finally after months, and it's still been 3 months post launching this system. We still do not have a free path for this. There was supposed to be the tokens, and then they scrapped that idea because they're doing free to play currency, which again, I'm very excited about. It just doesn't exist, right? Like, I have one Affinity premium, and that's Chimera, and it's because I really love Chimera. And now all of the progress that I've played other than Chimera has been cut down because I don't have the boost and there's no way to earn it for free. And I don't know, man. Like, this is one of those things that, like, I promise you I'm going to be able to look back at all of these things, and we mostly forget little shit like this. It's easy to forget little things like this. But this happened. It's still happening. And I personally don't understand why there aren't more people upset about this. right? Like they gave us a system that was supposed to be for unlocking content, and it was entirely paid. They didn't say a word about it being it's not entirely paid. It is a paid system. It has a paid portion to it, and they didn't say a word about it being paid until it was time to release it. And you know, even when it came out, let me just control F the word token. Lastly, we're continuing to work and implement tokens that will in the future allow you to access premium Hero Affinity tracks for free. Again, this is 3 months ago. Any version of unlocking this system for free still has not been out. It's just one of those things that, like, when I look at it, I have to tell you, like, this is not going to fly unless you're a fanboy. Does that make sense? Like, this is not going to fly. Shit like this, decisions like this, backtracking, holding out information to the last minute, like slow development, slow release, like this kind of shit is not going to fly to the grander player base of people. They just don't, man. At the end of the day, there's only so many people playing free-to-play games, right? I mean, Gino, we're looking at the dev stream from 4 months ago. We're kind of looking back and comparing to today and having a conversation about it. So yeah, this kind of shit just doesn't fly. It doesn't fly for me. I have standards, right? I have standards, man. I don't know how to put it any better than that. The standard that I hold for myself and the games that I spend my time on are much, much higher than this. And I just like, I don't bring this up just to like just to shit on the game. These are my ways of like, of explaining why this kind of development is not working, right? Like, it's just not working. It doesn't work. And I hope that, like, at minimum, I hope that, like, internally, even if it's quietly, Ometa can look at the things that I say, or they can also look back at their previous work and their previous wording, and they can recognize that it's an issue as well. Do I need to be acknowledged for what I do when I bitch about the game? No, absolutely not. I don't need them to come out and say, Krashy, you were right. No, absolutely not. But I do want to at least explain to the world that follows me why the things that I say have merit to them, right? Like, I don't just get up and start bitching about Pred because I lost some games of Pred, right? That's not what I do. I complain about Pred on the basis of comparing them and their development and the way that this game is being ran and the way that the game plays to other credible developers and games in the free-to-play market that are successful. I'm comparing them to the thing that will give them a future. So I don't often mean to, I'm not saying I don't ever do it, but I don't often mean to complain just to complain. I promise you, I'm trying to back it with some form of like discussion that has weight behind it, so I can explain to them, this is why what you're doing is not working. This is why what you're doing is ruining your credibility. This is why what you're doing needs to be changed. And this is why what you're doing is currently leading you down a path of like self-destruction. So yeah. How big's the Ometa dev team? Currently, their own website says 72. How would you take it if Robbie said, Krashy, you were right? I mean, so here's the thing. Like, I would probably just kind of like giggle and say like agree, but like I don't need them to say I'm right because I know I'm right. Yeah, for newbie Pred has enough content, I feel, at least for closed beta and open beta, things need to speed up. So Oscar, I have a hypothetical question for you. If the game was the exact same that it was now, maybe add in like a handful more characters, and you had been playing for over a year, would you still feel the same way? Would you still feel like the game had enough content for you and was like engaging and stuff? Bro, this is slow development. Yes, it's slow. It is slow. But yeah, so that's Hero Affinity. We'll go to the next segment. So like I said, I'm just trying to like reference to what they've done in the past to my opinions now, 4 months later, 3 months later, depending on what we're looking at, and to explain why I think like them creating a system that's paid, only bringing up the fact that it's paid the day they release it after talking about it for months, and then still 3 months later still not releasing the free track or the free path to this system is just really bad. It's just a really, really bad way to run this game.
Or in depth, so keep your eyes peeled for more information soon.
I am
so moving on a little bit more, I guess really
let's light my candle.
What we want to sort of talk about is some of the other areas of the game that we're working on.
I need some peace in my life.
Import, you've got a few things that you want to talk about here. I think we're looking at stuff like economy and items and things like that.
Call
I'm
the
going to let you
devs.
take it away.
I don't have their number.
What you're working on for the future.
Yeah, so obviously, like, just looking at the jungle changes in particular, we're very dedicated to improving and just iterating on the core loop, right? And just providing the best experience that we can, and also just providing it as content, right? Sometimes changes like the jungle changes, just changing wet camps from 2 minutes 15 to 2 minutes, like, it changes a lot about the game, and it affects more than just how jungle plays. And we're looking to do that across the entire game as well, and just find improvements where we can. So namely, like the aspects that you mentioned, the things that we're really looking at is we want to dive into our economy and just look at, and for those who don't know, economy pertains basically golden experience mostly. Right, and just look at it and just index on it and see if we can make any improvements. Right, are people gaining too much gold? Should they be gaining more experience? Things like this, right? Or should we slow it down? Conversely, right? So we're dedicated to making those gameplay changes, especially. That's something that we want to try and do this season, obviously if time pertains, but it is one of those goals and a personal goal of mine that we really do just want to try and improve the core loop as much as we can economically. In regards to new items, you know, I don't think it could get much more direct than that. It's we hear you guys. It's like, you know, you want to do more builds, or you want to find that build that finally makes Elefrost work, right? It's like things like this. Like, we're dedicated.
All right, I gotta say they delivered on that, right? Like, I don't remember when the new items came out, but I would say, all things considered, the new items coming out has been like a success, right? Like, I took my month break and I literally came back because of the new items. When were the new items introduced? I don't remember. When were the new items introduced? It's one of these patches. Yeah, dude, it's so hard to remember shit like this. This is why I try to look back, because it helps me remember. Oh, God. That's not the right blog. Oh, was it the PlayStation beta? No. This is the beta. Dude, it's so hard to remember. I just know they came out with new items. We got a bunch of new items. I think it was like more or less successful. But to piggyback off of what he said, yeah, they haven't really changed much else. Like, he had like a two-part thing. He talked about changing the game like very generally, like, oh, changing jungle timing, and like, oh, like changing gold and experience and economy. Like, none of that's really happened much throughout this season, but they did add new items. I really want to remember where it was. Didn't you quit playing Pred? I took a month break from Pred, but I've been back on the game for like a while now. When was that, dude? When the fuck did they add new items? I'm trying to remember. The new items were meh? I mean, I don't think so. Like, I think like Orb is good. I think Spirit of Amir is good. Like, I think like a lot of the new items like are pretty good. V13, is it V13? I must have literally just skipped this one in my clicking. I remember there being like a picture and it had like all the items in it. Oh yeah, okay, so V13. Okay, of the new items, let's literally talk about them. Echelon's Cloak is troll. The new support item I think is troll. Envy is troll, and like Frosted Lure is like okay, but dude, the rest of the items are actually pretty good. Like, so I think all things considered, like, this is good. You know what I mean? Toggle dark mode. Oh, I guess you're right. Sure, there you go. All things considered, like, so him like Import talking about like gameplay improvements and like talking about like bringing new items. I think they did a pretty good job on this. I will say we haven't seen like much in the way of like economy changes, and like I think that's coming because they've committed to the 6 item slot. So we'll see what that looks like. But for now, it's like, it's just hard to say. But he speaks very generally, and then he kind of touched on new items, so I figured we would touch on new items. Also, let me coincide the dates. Let me see when this happened. What, December 15th? So yeah, this was shortly after this then, like about a month and a half after, month and a week. So that's not bad. They actually did deliver on new items. I think they did a good job on
new
that.
Items to you guys, just because, again, it's more content, it's fun, and it's fun for us to make, right? Which is really what it is. Besides that, though, another thing that we've also heard you guys talk about a lot, whether it be about the map or anything else, is also our basic attacks, namely our ranged ones, right? And we also want to make a commitment that we're looking to improve them however we can, right? And it's one of the things that has been resounding amongst the community that we really do care about, and we really have been indexing on to try and improve.
Okay, so he's talking about ranged attacks. They did the ranged attack thing, and I remember people were like super excited about it, and I'm going to tell you right now, that fucking change did nothing. Like, it apparently is like good for like high ping or something. That fucking change did nothing, dude. I don't know, like, I don't even know how to find it. I don't think anybody remembers that change happened. That shit did nothing. I gotta just like, I just want to like make sure that like we're on the same page about that, because like maybe other people feel like it was huge. I don't remember when it happened, but it was not good. Like, it's not bad, but it like, I remember like when I tried it, I was like, oh, the game feels exactly the same. Like, I don't know. Like, it just seemed like it was like a little overhyped, I guess. Also, I can never find when any of this shit happened. Like, it was the projectile change, not even just auto attack change. It was like projectile change. And I remember everybody was like super excited about the projectile change. And then I remember like I wasn't playing at the time and I was like watching Soul Reaper stream, and Soul Reaper was just like, yeah, that shit didn't really change anything. And it's like, oh, well, that's disappointing. It broke Decker Orb. I don't even know if I remember that, but yeah. I've been taking a break for a little over a month now, and I want to come back, but I want to wait for free-to-play currency, so I don't have that. I'm wasting my time. Yeah, I mean, the beauty of them adding free-to-play currency is that if they add it properly, then technically there should always be a reason to play. Even if you like unlock a bunch of shit and then there's nothing you really want to buy, at least you could like stockpile currency, right? Friend in Serbia still has pain with any ranged combat, so I doubt they fix anything. Well, I mean, his ping is probably like super high, right? So I don't know.
So that's pretty much
but
it
yeah,
from my
I
side
just
in
remember
terms
that
of
didn't
things I
really
can
like
give you.
do anything.
For sure. And I think Blood, you've got some stuff with movement speed penalties. Is that right?
Yeah, it's one thing we're currently looking into. One issue that I personally feel a lot, I play a lot of offlane these days, is that when a player gets a lead, it can be really problematic to the point where some of our heroes just innately run down the other hero and chase them down the lane and kill them before they can get to the safety of the tower. We lose a lot of that tension that you should have in laning phase, where this guy's moving forward, I have to move back and respect that, but then I have my moment to move forward and he has to move back and stuff. We often end up with just, no, there's Grux and he's really strong and he's just starting to run at me now, and it's like, well, I better just hightail back to my tower before he can even start attacking me, or it becomes problematic. So yeah, the ability to sort of like space and reciprocate is a problem, and this also leads to issues of ranged offlaners as well that we've seen pop up every now and again, where these ranged ADCs and stuff are able to maintain distance for this long period of time before the melee can even catch up to them and even start hitting them. So this will increase the value of some things like crowd control and stuff, and that's why we're doing a lot more sort of like due diligence into it, because it affects a lot of the areas of the game. But by looking into movement speed penalty, I'm hoping that we could find a way to increase it without.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They never did anything, right? Like, I want to, like, I'm not actually certain. I did take a month off. They never changed anything with movement speed penalty, right? Like, I don't remember. I feel like I would have heard more about it. I just want to like make. This is me doing my due diligence. I'm pretty positive they never changed anything with this. I think this is like, so man, a pretty common theme is that they talk a lot about the things they want to do, or like the things that they're like exploring, or this, that, the other. And I have two thoughts. Like, I have two thoughts, and I'm going to say it in a very Krashy-esque way. Either one, they're entirely full of shit and they don't ever do it. Like, that's the most Krashy thing I can say. They're either entirely full of shit and they just don't ever do it, or, and I think this one is much more likely, I wonder how much they test in internal testing and that shit just never sees the fucking light of day. Because I had an idea today. If they're testing crazy changes in internal testing, but it never sees the light of day, don't you think it would be interesting for them to take some of the footage of that internal testing and maybe like make it publicly viewable and then ask for opinions just based on the footage, not even based on like allowing it to hit live and then let us play it? But the whole point, the whole like issue I have with this early access shit is that they don't ever fucking change anything. Like, they don't ever change anything, and they talk about all these changes they want to make, but they don't ever do it. And then we're kind of like, I feel like there's a disconnect between what they are actually doing and what they're actually testing and what we actually see them do and what we actually get to test. And so there's this disconnect where it's like, do we as the players actually feel involved in this process of them building the game? Because I know I personally don't. I don't personally feel involved at all. I'm here, I play the live version of their game, And here's the thing, if it's not an early access that is actually going to make like sweeping changes and try new things, then it's basically just live. It's basically just like almost the full version. And you could say like, well, no, it's not full version because they're not marketing and because they don't have all the systems in place. And that's totally true. But they're playing their live client safe because they don't want to take a lot of sweeping changes to it. So they're playing it safe as if it's like a live free-to-play game. But then they have like the safety net and the safety blanket of calling it like an early access title. So like, which one is it, right? Like, are we as the player base like involved in the development of this game? And like, are we like welcome to giving feedback? And are you actually interested in our feedback? Or are we just the people that are playing the live version that you let us see and you let us have while you're actually doing all this testing or not doing anything at all? Like, I'm very confused because like, I feel like I remember them writing somewhere. I need to find it. I need to remember really hard right now. I remember reading with my eyes on text, reading that they were going to like make sweeping changes. I remember reading it. I swear to God, I know it exists out there somewhere. It might have been super, super old. It might have been more recently. I don't know. But I remember reading that they were like planning on making sweeping changes and like really testing things during early access. And I think I can almost speak for everyone when I say that's just not true. Like they just don't do it. They don't try things almost at all. It's been 14 months. There has been, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, and it's not literal because like maybe they change things that aren't like visible to the player. But to my knowledge, visible to the player, they have made one map change in 14 months. Like what is that? What excuse for that is there? So same thing, right? Like, oh, we want to explore movement penalties. We want to explore changes to our economy. Where is that? Do you actually do it or not? Where? I'm assuming you're asking me about the map change. So do you know where that little staircase is that overlooks the pits? And you know how there's like that broken wall? That broken wall used to be a little bit higher. Like there's like a half broken wall and it sits like kind of high up and you can like run and jump over it, or you can like use a movement ability to jump over it. That wall used to be higher than it is now. That's the only map change they've ever made. As far as I can remember. I can't remember a single other map change they've ever made. So I don't know. I share that sentiment. I mean, they claim to do some crazy testing like vertical dash on 7 Kira, but they have been running early access for a year like it was released. See, that's my point. I feel like they play it safe, but then they still use the safety net of like, well, we are early access. It's like, I feel like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Is there going to be a new map in the future, or maybe 2 or 3 map rotates randomly like in Overwatch? No. They've already told us that they're not working on a map anytime soon.
Having any of these problems or deficits making CC2 valuable and stuff, whilst
Shit, I need to breathe more when I talk.
Offlaners or snowballing lanes where people can run others down, and this should hopefully create more interesting dynamics in here-to-here interactions where people space a bit more and their abilities matter a bit more. But it plays into everything, right? If a player is slowed 10% more while basic attacking, all of our abilities have been built around the concept of the current move speed penalty. So if Gideon's Q was somewhat decent to land now, it's going to be a much easier sort of ability to land when, you know, ADCs are attacking you and they're slower, and melees are attacking you and they're slower, so we have to reconsider those as well. So it affects a lot of gameplay, but it is something we're looking into.
With the influx of new players, what would they benefit from the sweeping changes? Potentially making a better game, right? Like inaction is a choice, right? Like choosing to do nothing is a choice. So if you just keep the game current, like the way that it is, and you uphold that as the status quo, but the game's not actually that good, then you would benefit by testing things, because by testing things you would actually get player feedback, and then by taking that feedback you can pick and choose the things that you liked, that the player base liked, in order to make the best game that you can, right? Like, but if you just never change anything, well then the game just stays the same forever. So I don't know,
so that we can create this nicer sort of dynamic between here-to-here interaction.
You know, your Grux example there, just that really hit home there. I've had so many times with a Grux and off lane that just absolutely destroys me. But I've always put it down to my own skill level. Right. So you know, we'll see. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. There's some really cool sounding gameplay changes that I think are going to make things kind of spice things up a little bit. You know, that's what it seems like. Is that pretty much how the design meetings go? We just kind of like, right, how are we going to spice it? We're going to add more spice. How do we do it? Is that kind of how we do our design meetings? No. A little bit more technical. I get it.
No, I would say, like,
on the day.
Yeah. Like yeah. What we've been talking about recently, and where a lot of this stuff is coming from, is just like, where is the game frustrating at the moment? Like, we're kind of very interested in, like, people are 10 months in, they've been playing the
Okay, do you see the problem that, like, does anybody know why I paused just now? I'm gonna rewind that. That annoys the shit out of me.
How do we do it? Is that kind of how we...
This annoys the fuck out of me.
No. A little bit more technical. A little bit more technical. I get it.
No, I would say, like,
on the day.
Yeah. Like what we've been talking about recently, and where a lot of this stuff is coming from, is just like, where is the game frustrating at the moment? Like, we're kind of very interested in, like, people are 10 months in. They've been playing the content for a while. Like, some things are
like, they're talking about things from the perspective of, like, where is the game frustrating currently? And then he says some people have been playing 10 months in. It's like, dude, I am 24 minutes into this hour and 24 minute, like, dev stream, and most of what they have talked about has either not been done or is like shit that came out and, like, was kind of fucked up. Like, Seraph Kit discussion, that's not that important. Hero Acquisition, they've completely scrapped their version of Hero Acquisition and they're going to move to something else. Balance patch, that's not irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Jungle AI improvements have not been done. Hero Affinity teaser, we talked about that. And again, I talked about the issues that came out with Hero Affinity. Gameplay improvements, of which they did some of. Sure, they came out with new items, but they haven't touched economy. They haven't touched movement speed penalties. So, like, he shares this sentiment of, like, oh, we want to talk about things that are frustrating to play, and some of y'all are 10 months in. Motherfucker, I'm 14 months in now. What are you doing? What do you do when you clock in, when you log your time and you get on your computer and you work on the things that you're working on? What do you do? And this is, like, let me put it this way. If I was a project manager, if I was a team lead, I would expect for people to report. I would expect to be able to have people report to me or to check in on my team and to know what they are doing. So it's not me. I'm not hypothetically saying they don't do anything. I'm saying, what do they do? Like, I promise you, it sounds more aggressive than I mean it to be. But what do they do? What do they actually do? Because in the last 4 months, and I'm not saying nothing is being accomplished, it's very obvious that they are doing work. But what is it? What exactly has changed between October 6th to January 30th that is tangible to the player base? Because it doesn't exist. It's not on the fucking elemental chart. I can't see it. I don't understand it. I have seen commitments to things. I have heard commitments to things. But what have you done? Kwong came out. Yeah. There's been some balance changes. Yeah. Where's the rest of this shit that you talked about that's frustrating to the players 4 months ago? This is an old dev stream that we're looking back at. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. And then, it's frustrating because I understand why people love the game so much. I do. I'm in the same boat. But to not hold them to the fire a little bit is frustrating. Like, I want the rest of the player base to catch the fuck up to me. And I don't need everybody to be as agitated, right? Like, I'm the agitated person. That's fine. But I want everybody else to catch up you know what? There's a giant joke in Pred, and I'm in on the joke, but everybody else hasn't figured out the joke yet. And I just want everybody else in the community to catch up to the fucking joke, because that's where we are. Like, catch up. Like, like, please.
Becoming very frustrating and definitely pain points, and realistically that's where most of the design decisions around, like, the core gameplay are coming from. It's like, where are the big frustrations right now? What are future plans? How would they address them? And what can we, like, either do short term to hold us over until some bigger improvements are there, or what are the bigger improvements we want to take on?
Well, you haven't done anything. Nice. You haven't done anything at all.
Makes sense. And are these sorts of things, are they sort of based on community feedback, on your own experience, a mix of both? Is what sort of goes into those decisions? That can be for Alex, if you like.
Yeah, sure. I mean, these guys can kind of open up as well, but from my perspective, it's definitely, like, listening to the community first and foremost, and then we have, like, different sources of testers providing feedback that also help us key in on some areas and contextualize, and then obviously, like, playing the game ourselves. There are some people within the company that play the game a lot and are able to evaluate a lot of the things that we're hearing from the community and from our different testing groups.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make a bold statement. I'm willing to bet that internal testing it just isn't working. Like, I don't know. Like, I know some of the people that are internal testing. A lot of the people that are like have been around the game for a while, some high MMR players, some content creators, they're in internal testing. But whatever's going on in internal testing, like, either the internal play testers are not giving them enough good information, or the developers are not throwing them changes. I don't know what it is. Something with internal testing is fucked up. I can tell you right now, I'm so confident that something around their internal testing is fucked up. And for the sake of explaining to the community, if you're not privy to this information, their internal testing is not just their in-house QA. Their internal testing, they have a Discord that has like community members that play the game. They don't get paid. They just test the game. They test versions of the game. Something is not working here, because whatever the fuck y'all are internally testing, it seemingly never makes it to live client. So what is the feedback like? Like, I'm at a point where I'm going to start reaching out to people that I know are internal testing, and I want somebody to, like, I want some fucking leaks. You know what I mean? Like, someone leak me what the fuck is going on. Like, are y'all only ever playing unreleased heroes? Because I did some internal testing before I got removed from it for being like a content creator. That was the reason I got told, like, they didn't really want content creators in internal testing. But, like, what is happening in internal testing? Like, and where are those changes? And why? Like, and if the changes are happening in internal testing, where's the iteration? Like, just because a change hits internal testing, like, that could be version 1, and then it could go through like 4 different versions, and then it could hit live client. But the problem is that, like, what we're looking at when it comes to live gameplay, like, we don't ever actually see gameplay changes. We only see balance. And balance, dude, listen, let me show you what balance looks like. Let me show you something. I don't know if y'all can see this because it's tiny, but I'll help you out. This is what it looks like to balance. All right, I just balanced Rampage. So, like, this does not impress me. Like, I just balanced Rampage in the most recent balance patch, and somehow they managed to bug him. But that's not the point. The point is that, like, I don't know what happens in internal testing, but the only thing that ever sees the light of day is this. Like, that's like like, I don't know. Like, I like, what? So what's happening in internal testing that doesn't make it to live client, or what's not happening in internal testing? I don't know. Need jungle improvements, map design, more actives, more rewards for player engagement, new modes, etc. It's been a whole year, and we've got raptor changes, projectile increase, which is good, and mastery, which was fumbled. I mean, I mostly agree. Yeah, maybe their ideas just aren't good, and all the internal testers are saying no to everything they test. That, I mean, if that's the case, I would say that's what's wrong with internal testing. Then, yeah. The UI needs an overhaul. The game's ping map UI looks like trash. I love the loop, but more OP UI rocks. Yeah, I think OP's UI is much better. You made it in time for a Krashy rant. Well, I mean, this whole stream is like me. I'm not ranting, really. It's me, like, what I want to do is I want to take more opportunities to, like, put weight behind what I say. It's really simple. Like, my sentiment is simple. My sentiment is, if you don't develop the game faster, the game's going to die. But a lot of people don't actually understand why. They don't understand why. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to connect the dots backwards. I'm trying to look backwards and show you why they're failing. Like, I want to like show you, like, look at the timelines, look at the track record. This is my, look, listen, I'll always tell you this. This is a huge word that I like to use. Track record, or 2 words. Look at their track record. Go back and look at what they've actually accomplished and what they've done, what they said they're going to do, and recognize that their track record is negative. I promise you. You can literally go back and look at it. Like, for example, like, we have a section. I was going to save this. Actually, I am going to save it. I don't want to spill the beans on where I was going soon. So we'll continue. We'll continue.
Makes sense. It's actually, you know, it's. I'm going slightly off topic here. I'm sorry, but it is one of the things that I noticed when I joined Ameda.
The track record's important. We're going to talk about
people
that.
In the studio, like, are always playing the game. It's great, myself included, by the way. It's just it's so cool to see. It's a really
I do want
nice
leaks. I want to know what the fuck's going on in IT.
Let's look kind of way off in the future. You know, we're looking, you know,
keep what he just said in mind, okay? I want everybody to keep what I'm going to rewind it. I want you to keep what he said in mind just now.
Let's say always playing the game. It's great, myself included.
Coming up.
It's so cool to see. It's a really
all right.
Really nice.
Listen to what he says right here.
So
keep this in mind.
Let's look kind of way off.
Way off. That's fair.
You know, we're
That's
looking,
fair.
You know, a lot further. Let's say in the future, because you know it wouldn't be a dev stream unless we spoke about some spicy topics, right? So I guess, you know, a feature that we know is on a lot of our sort of veteran players' minds, and probably newer players as well, to be fair, is ranked mode. So Alex, could you tell us what the plan for that is currently?
Ranked mode.
Yeah, sure. So some of you may remember that it was actually on our roadmap for season 2, and
okay, that's what I was going to get to. I didn't actually remember that he said that, but let's go find that. Let's go find that. Okay. Season 2 roadmap. Oh, this is them canceling the roadmap. Or I don't know what else to call it other than canceling, but pulling back on the roadmap. Okay. So season 2 roadmap. This was released on April 20th. So again, I think a lot of people are still new to this game and don't always understand everything. April 20th, right? On April 20th, they announced ranked mode solo duo. Obviously, if you have been playing the game, you know that is not only not season 2, it's been scrapped from season 3, and it still has not come out to this day. So I think it's fair. It is fair to acknowledge that Steg said this is way off, right? I think it's fair. It's fair to say, dude, that's way off, right? But this is the perfect explanation of me talking about track record. So when I say look at their track record, look at what they've accomplished. This plays in perfectly. Look at the track record of them promising something and it's just never being done, right? And that's not just for me to shit on them. It's for me to build evidence to why I say the things that I say. Like when I say like, oh, Ometa is like mostly failing, like this is a perfect reason why. Look at the track record. They promised a bunch of shit. They were not able to deliver on it. That shit then, like, not only did it not make it into the following season, like it didn't make it into the following season, which again we've acknowledged, or at least in my opinion is way too long, far too long. Not only is it not brought up into this, it's then again reintroduced as a talking point 4 months ago on October 6th as something that they acknowledge is very, very important, something they want to put in the game, but they just simply like can't do it, right? Like it's so when I talk about like the game development is slow, it's not just me saying like, oh, it's slow, speed it up because I want more content. Like, I promise you, I'm not being an entitled little fuck. I'm just saying, like, if you have a player base of people that go through this with you, right? Like, we go through all these moments of you promising shit and then under delivering, and then you have this season 3 where it's like we promise a bunch of shit and we're going to try to over deliver, but they haven't even delivered on some of the things that are on this because this season's not over because it's like, 6 months long. It comes down to like, what kind of credibility are you building for yourself, and what is your track record, right? Like, what is the credibility of your studio? Like, when I think Ometa Studios, like, I'm just gonna give it to you straight, man. When I think Ometa, I'm gonna tell you what I think of their studio. Inexperienced. It's too big now. Probably unreliable and slow. Like, this is what I think when I think of Ometa Studios. And so here's the thing. I didn't just come up with these 3 negative words for nothing, right? Like, I didn't just make them up for nothing. So you have to look at the track record. Why did I choose to call them inexperienced, unreliable, and slow? Well, they're inexperienced because they're an indie studio. Some of them have developer experience, some of them don't. Some of them are former Paragon players. The CEO of the company is like a capital investor who used to make YouTube videos. Why do I call them unreliable? Well, I call them unreliable because it's proven that they deliver they promise to deliver content, they promise to make changes, and they never do. And then why do I call them slow? Because again, they promise to deliver content, and it just simply doesn't happen. So when I think Ometa Studios, this is what I think. And here's the thing. Again, I want to be incredibly clear. Thank you, by the way. My raid timing might have been bad. No, we're just talking, all right? Like, we're just talking about the game. Here's what my goal is for today. I want to put reason behind the things that I say, because this is what people don't understand. Other people are not, like, people that don't like me, I promise you they're not doing their research, right? Like, the people are just like, oh, he's shitting on the game, I don't like that fucking guy. They think I'm just complaining to complain, but they don't understand that like, I have reasons, and there's weight, and there's like a track record to back up the things that I say. So when I think of Ometa, I think of an inexperienced studio that's unreliable and slow. And why do I think of those things? Because of their track record. So I'm trying to not just rant and rage about nothing. I'm trying to, like, if I have a point to prove, let me point to something and show you how I can prove it, right? I think that's the thing that I have to do, right? Yet they have the best recreated version of the game. I mean, who cares, right? Who cares if it's the best recreated version of the game if it dies? Like the bar of success is not at being the better Paragon remake. It's at having a job in the future. Does that make sense? Like, the bar of success has nothing to do with, well, did they beat Overprime? Motherfucker, both of these games are failing, right? Like, the bar of success has nothing to do with Paragon. It has everything to do with the free-to-play game market, right? Like, it has everything to do with competing with Smite and competing with League of Legends. Like, it has nothing to do with Paragon. Fuck Paragon. Paragon doesn't mean shit. But people they're not ready for that discussion either. It's really frustrating, but I digress on that talking point. So let's listen to them talk about rank.
Features we cut when the new UI delay happened.
Let's talk about rank
onto the season 3 roadmap, and yeah, that's just because we decided to prioritize some other things. However, that doesn't mean that it's like far from our mind. We see it as an extremely
I'm out of here. I mean, you're just small brain and unintelligent, and you don't know how to engage in the conversation because you're a Paragon fan. Let's be real, right? Like, Sinner, no offense, but like, your opinion doesn't mean anything, and neither does Paragon. Like, my opinion is objectively true. Like, my opinion is objectively true. My opinion is backed by an obvious understanding of how free-to-play games work. That's why you don't have a community. What? How many people are watching right now? There's 70 people. There's 70 people watching me. Like, what do you, dude? This is why I can't talk to morons, right? Like, and this is where I become an asshole, right? Like, there's 70 people watching me. There's 36,000 people that follow me. I had like almost 100,000 views the last month. Like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Like, no offense, I don't think I'm special, but like, who are you actually talking to? Oh, this is why you don't have a community. This is why nobody takes you seriously. Yet there's 70 people listening to me. Yet I'm literally talking about, I can give you reasons as to what I'm saying. It's like, dude, if you're not smart, just come out and say I'm a fucking idiot and then leave, right? Like, it's not complicated to have a little bit of intellect, but you have to remember, and I looked this up the other day, it's the average IQ. Average IQ, and 68% of all people have scores between 85 and 115, and the highest IQ is like 300. Like, the majority of people are fucking idiots, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, the majority of human beings are morons. So, like, it's not complicated whenever you recognize the one moron in the room, and then you have to point him out for being a fucking idiot. So yeah, in any case, you will never compete with League of Legends. The only competition is Smite. It's, when I say compete with League of Legends, I don't mean compete as in actually keep up. I mean, you are literally competing with them. Does that make sense? Paragon died to the boom of Fortnite. If Paragon was successful, they wouldn't have closed it. It's just a reality. No game that's generating profits gets shut down just because another game is also generating profit. They could have just ran both of them. Paragon got shut down because it wasn't a good game.
We go free to play, at least for our plans for for ranked during free to play is like we will go free to play, and there will be a little bit of delay, or let's say time, before the first season of rank kicks off, where players will be able to grind their accounts to the respective player level that we've decided is a requirement for ranked, and then like the first season of ranked will kick off. However, before that, we will be basically planning to release the feature during early access, run some amount of pre-seasons or very limited sessions of the rank to test all of the different aspects of it and to get feedback on it, so that when we do drop season 1, when we go free to play, we're in a really good space. So yeah, I can't say exactly when it's coming, but it's high priority and a must-have for us. And yeah, it's something that I would love to see personally. Right, personally a big fan of ranked, even though I'm forever average. But it's the reason I play games like this. I'm the casual competitive player, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to a ranked system. I don't think there's going to be any surprises from.
So I'm pretty uninterested in engaging with their discussion about ranked, because what I'm basically doing here is just providing more context to the fact that nothing ever actually happens with this game. This blog post, or this dev stream, is 4 months old. Obviously nothing has really changed since then, so there's really not much to talk about on this segment. Atomic said, honestly, seems like the player count is holding it down without much marketing. I expected it a hard dip, but it's holding steady. A bit of a spike with the PlayStation release. Atomic, I'm not attacking you, I promise. I have a question. Do you think that the current player base size is big enough to sustain the project for the long term? Like, do you think that the current player base size will generate enough revenue for them to eventually become profitable and continue the project? This is like a multi-part question. Usually when a game is dying and the reason cited is player count, it's because player count is dipping. That's not what I asked. I asked you a very specific question, no offense. Like, I don't mean to, I have like a kind of 2-part question here. I have to like, kind of walk you to it, if that's fine. And neither of us have a, are you going to answer the question or not? I'm just curious about a hypothetical question, if you have an answer for it. Do you think that the current size of the player base is big enough for them to continue to run the project and potentially become profitable? In your opinion, do you believe that the game, at its current player base size, I'm not asking if we have data, I'm asking you to answer the question in your opinion. I have no idea. Well, I'll tell you what I believe. The answer is no. It's very obviously no. All you need have is like a little bit of common sense to have the answer. No offense, but it's not fucking complicated. At the current player base size, this game will never sustain itself because it will never reach profitability. The answer is obviously a resounding no. So I'm not saying the game is dying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the game will eventually die. It's a 100% no. It's not hard. It's literally common sense. What I'm saying is that if the game cannot find ways to retain players at a higher bar than what we're at currently, then the game will never become profitable, and then the game will eventually run out of capital and they will end development. So the goal is to get the game to a point of retention that is high enough for that goal, right? Like where it's high enough for them to actually sustain enough revenue to continue the project, right? Like, the game is not dead. I'm not even saying that the game is dying. I'm saying that if they don't raise the bar, then it is impossible for them to reach profit. I think this is the part of the conversation when talking about Pred where it's incredibly hard to have this conversation, because I think you need to understand how games work to understand this talking point. The current player base this current size of player base will never sustain the project. You need a very large player base to sustain a project. Because the reality is like 5% of people spend money on the game anyways. It's a very low percentage of people actually fund free-to-play games. And also, for the sake of saying, like 99% of free-to-play games die.
So my point is the player base isn't diving off a cliff. It's holding steady. Yes, they need more to offer to grow, but you cannot make any determination without understanding their economics. I agree. I completely agree with that. I think in order to have the conversation that you're having, you have to ask me the question of whether or not I believe that the game is dying or that the player base is dwindling, of which the answer is no. Like, I don't think that the game is like drastically losing players, and I don't think that the game is dying. I think that the game, there is a, like, let me make a hypothetical, like, let me make like some fucking bullshit timeline. This is the timeline, right? This is EA. Let's say this is year 0. Let's cut it into 3, right? Like, this is year 1, this is year 2, and this is, holy fuck, and this is year 3. Let's say we're here, right? Like, we're here, right? Fuck, where was my mind going with this idea? Holy fuck, I'm actually brain dead as fuck. Fuck, Sockcap's gonna clip that. Fuck, dude. Fuck, I forgot my train of thought. Fuck, I've actually completely lost my train of thought. It's not that I believe that the player base is in like a perpetual decline. It's that if the player base doesn't, like, okay, so this is like the timeline currently, right? Like, it's not that I think that the player base is in a perpetual decline. It's that I believe that the player base has to reach a peak and then at minimum plateau. Does that make sense? Like, it has to reach like a certain bar. And if the game quality never reaches that bar and then consistently holds people's interest, the game cannot retain. Like, it just won't. So the problem is that we have a track record that proves that they're incapable of reaching this bar, and that it's again, it's not that the player base is plummeting, but that at a certain point the player base will continue to hold at such a rate that they will never become profitable, and then they won't be able to sustain development. So if early access lasts 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's all irrelevant if they can never actually hit that line. And that's the problem. We are seeing a recorded, documented track record of them not being able to reach that fucking line. Like, they've never gotten to the point where people are actually like sticking around like at a high enough rate, right? And here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like, none of this matters until free to play. Like, the blow your load moment is like free. Like, if this is free to play right here, free to play, the game cannot even possibly start dying until this moment. Like, this is the end all be all. So whether it's in year 2.5, 3, 4, 5, none of it fucking matters until we hit free to play. But what I'm saying, and again, my perspective is not that the game is dying. It's that the game has obviously been failing and struggling to prove that it's not just inevitably going to die, right? Like, I can't say that the game is dying. The game has no potential to die until free to play. Like, that's when we will know. After free to play, you'll know instantly. Like, you'll know within the first, after 6 months of free to play, you'll know whether or not the game has a future or not. So yeah, I guess that was kind of the point that I was getting to. So I'm not making the claim that the game is dying. I'm making the claim that the game has never been in a sustainable place, even prior to free to play, that once they reach free to play, it'll retain players. So you agree with this? Yeah, I think that this is really, really important. Like, the game will not die until free to play. I'm not saying that the game is dying. I don't think that the game is drastically dropping players. If anything, we've seen more of a spike just because the game finally launched on a platform that's been hungry for the game, but that the game has never reached the quality that it needs to have, and the player base and the size of the product, of the like monthly active, daily active, whatever metric you want to go on, users, in order to sustain the project for the long term. So yeah, the reality is that they have X amount of dollars in the bank, and they have like Y amount of time to get as far in, like as close to free to play as they can. They will eventually be forced to release the product, and once they release the product, from then we will know whether or not the game can actually sustain itself. The problem is that my argument has never been that the game is dying. It's always been that the game is too slow. So if I have a documented 14-month track record of them being too slow and failing to release on their product, then that means that if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet against the track record. I would lean into it, right? I would just continue to assume that what they've always done is exactly what they're going to do. So I have to look at the hypothetical free-to-play date. We're 14 months. Let's say it's 28 months. At 28 months, they go free to play. play, I'm going to assume that if their track record has stayed consistent, I'm going to expect the exact same thing from them. And if I expect the exact same thing from them, they have no future. If that makes sense.
Maybe what the players are expecting, at least, except like it will be solo duo, like that will be the focus for the start of it. And yeah, the plan is to have a space that meets the needs of our more competitive minded players and allow.
Also, and this is much less relevant. It's more of just like a personal question that I want everybody to think about for themselves. You don't have to say it in chat. You can think about it. You can say it in chat if you want to. How long are you willing to wait? Because that's a completely side question. This has nothing to do about whether or not the game has a future. It's just a more personal question that each person has to think about. How long are you actually willing to wait for the game to be good? That's just a personal question. Personally, I'm already past that point. I'm way fucking past that point. They got like a solid year out of me, and even then I was already peeved. But yeah, yikes.
Basically define and progress within that competitive space better.
Yeah, makes sense. And I just want to point out, you said it plenty of times and enough, but we are looking further in the future, and we're discussing this stuff quite openly, and it is possible that things change. Just as a caveat, I thought of another thing, and again, this is another one of those things that like this isn't nearly as objective and maybe important, but I'm gonna make a. I want to make a comparison to something. So you have two potential timelines, and both of these are early access. Like it's like two alternate universes, right? What the fuck? You have alternate universes, early access 1, and you have early access 2. And in early access 2 timeline, I don't know how to depict what I'm getting at here. In early access 1 timeline, this is like prime. Fuck. This is like normal prime timeline. This is like our norm. This is what's happening in the world right now. Prime. This is actual reality. This is what we have. We have like slow, and then like it's kind of poopy. Let's draw like a little poop. This is the real timeline. That's a poop. Okay. Things are kind of poopy, right? And when you have slow and poopy, you know what that equals? It equals like really angry Krashy. I don't know if that looks angry at all. Right? I don't know if that looks angry at all. But now this is like good timeline. It's good timeline. I don't know. This is like if early access was fucking chilling. It's chill. Like people are pretty they're pleased, right? Like they're like people are we're steady, right? Like we're chilling, bro. You know what this equals? This equals like pretty happy Krashy. Like woo, like I got fucking long hair. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty happy. Like Krashy over here, like I give the game like a 2 out of 10. I do not recommend it. Krashy over here, the game's like pretty good. Like it's like I really love the gameplay. I think like it's pretty solid. Like I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, I think you should play it. Which timeline's better? pre-release. Like, do you know what I mean? Just fucking appreciate what we have? No, you dumb fuck. Because if I appreciated what we had, then it won't exist in the future. Wake the fuck up. I hate that take more than anything in the world. If I sit by and allow mediocrity to exist, then mediocrity will inevitably destroy itself. Have some fucking standards for yourself. No, I'm not gonna be the brain dead fuck that sits around thanking God that Paragon is back. It's not me. I'm not gonna do it. In any case, what I'm getting at with this example is which one is better for the game. Would it have been crybabies? I'd rather be a crybaby than a fucking idiot, right? Sit on that one, buddy. Which one's better for the game? Is it better that you had like an EA development where like the people were happy and recommended the game? Or is it better to have this bullshit? So this is irrelevant, by the way. Like this is actually irrelevant. It doesn't fucking matter. What's happened has happened. I'm just saying that like
this whole last year of development has been a fucking nightmare. It's been a fucking nightmare, dude. It sucks. It's been a fucking travesty. If anything, I'm very confident in saying that they shouldn't have released the game in early access for like at least a year at all. So yeah, it is what it is.
Always like to throw on subject to change on everything, but especially when we're talking about a little bit of topics, you know, that are further in the future.
The game is good though.
I could just
the game is objectively not good, by the way, quick, just for the sake of saying. Like, I just think like it's if you want to compare the game, if you want to compare Pred to games that are objectively good on every metric, then you will find with a modicum of common sense that Pred is obviously not a good game, despite how you feel about it, right? If it releases with a ton of content, free to play with mass marketing push, and 90% of the player base is now new players with fresh eyes and has everything they want, doesn't matter. Yeah, but that's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, why? Like, how is it possible that they're going to sustain themselves to a point where they get everything in the game, and then at the same time, even though they had like a 20-something plus odd month track record of being slow, they're magically going to turn it around? Like, what? Like, what? In what world does that magically just happen, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how is it possible? How is it actually possible that they're just magically going to wake up one day and start running the game properly? It just doesn't, that's not how it works, right? Like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe in God and I don't believe in magic, right? So personally, I just don't think it's going to happen. That 100% happens if they have enough funding. Well, I don't see how. I don't know. Maybe, like, I don't know. I don't know how you think that's going to happen. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what, like what do you have to stand on that gives you that feeling that that's what's going to happen? Because I'm showing you like a 14-month track record of failure. I'm showing you like lost promises. I'm showing you like things that they said they wanted to do 4 months ago that still haven't been done. Like, I'm showing you all of these things that are proving that they're just consistently making mistakes and not getting things done. And you're just saying like, oh, well, if they can, then they will. And I just like, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know.
Question regarding like concerns regarding like adding more modes and ranked and the player base. So obviously,
go look at how much money they spent. I don't to develop the last 14 months. Like, do you have that metric? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if we don't have their burn rate and we don't know their full investment, it's a public company. They are not a public company. What, are they listed on the fucking NASDAQ? Can I go to their annually reportings? Like, what are you talking about? I'm confused. I'll let you link me something if you'd like.
Obviously, if we were to turn on ranked right now or any mode, like, we would split our our player base in a way that would negatively impact matchmaking. That's a consideration we have when taking these things. So,
well, to be fair, Karma, they're a work from home company, so I don't really blame them for that. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm doing the same shit, right?
We are actively looking at how and when we will be increasing the active player base through different marketing campaigns and promotional activities.
Yeah, I have no
as
problem
well
with
as basically looking at ways.
If you could say objectively and say an opinion, making games takes time. It's not a massive startup. You're expecting too much from something that isn't that serious. Why do you... Okay, listen. This is another really big argument that I have. Like, it's an argument against people's argument against me. Why do you believe that it is my expectation that I'm arguing for? In what world am I not arguing for the expectation of the free-to-play market? And if you don't know what I mean when I say that, please, for the love of God, ask. Please ask. I am not arguing and advocating for my expectations. I am taking the success and the desire and the what's the demand? That's the word I'm looking for. I'm taking the success of other games that are active, that have a player base, that generate profit, and I am looking at the demand of those games relative to the game genre that they're in, and I am looking at them and I am saying, oh, that's what it takes to be successful, ergo, predecessor is not doing that. It has nothing to do with my expectations. It has everything to do with the expectations of the majority of people that play these games on the planet. Does that make sense? It has nothing to do with what Joseph wants, and it has everything to do with what the world wants from these products. Does that make any sense at all? Like, everybody thinks that Krashy speaks from my perspective. Oh, I just speak because I want the game faster. Oh, I'm such an entitled cunt that wants the game faster. It's the world. This is the market that they're chasing. It is the market share of players that play the game, that want to play the game, that are interested in the game, and if they don't do it, they have no customers. Like, I don't understand these arguments against me when people say I'm expecting too much. It has everything to do with what the world expects. There's only so many people that are going to play these types of games. You need to captivate them. It has nothing to do with what I want and everything to do with what the market wants. Again, I love doing this because I think it's silly, but it's also literal. If you have 2 toilet paper companies and one toilet paper company has a really shitty product, and every time you wipe your asshole, you accidentally stick your finger through and get shit all over your hand, are you going to continue to buy that toilet paper, or are you going to go to a better product? It's common fucking sense.
Ways to release things like ranked and other modes in a limited time format that would allow a segregation of the player base, but in a controlled way that just will not persist, right? So it's like maybe
probably true, Karma. Probably true,
and it's the only thing on, right? Like everyone just has to play ranked.
There are a lot of really shitty toilet paper companies, though. Yeah, we'll compare their fucking their annual earnings to that of companies that aren't. Obviously, it's a joke, right? Like you get the point, Aho. you get the point. Oh god, dude, the cult of Krashy. This is the other thing that confuses me. When people disagree with me, they also go out of their way to like shit on everybody that agrees with me, which I think is really funny. Like, I'm just kind of letting Birdman exist because he's just raging into the void like a babbling buffoon. But I think it's really funny that there are a very large populace of people that agree with me. But if y'all agree with me, oh, by the way, y'all are all brainwashed cunts. I don't know if y'all knew that, but if anybody in this stream agrees with me, y'all are all brainwashed by my cult. I have so much power and influence. Oh, look at how much of it. Like, I know I'm really attractive, but look at my influence on you just exudes into you, and you lose all semblance of free will because you're brainwashed by the Krashy cult. How fucking insulting. It's ridiculous. Jesus Christ, you brainwashed idiots. Oh my god, how dare you have any ability to have free will and think for yourselves? You've all just heard me say it, so therefore you must believe it.
Just so we can get data and we can test out the feature. But yeah, we are aware, just switching on full modes tomorrow would be terrible.
Ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. You're right, it is an ad hominem.
Approaching from multiple ways to address that.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. This also
it isn't binary. We can agree on some points and disagree on others. Not to the haters, you can't. Brainwash idiot.
So,
all right, let's see. Find an update company information service gov UK company. Interesting. Let's look at this. All right, Omega Studios Limited, company number blah 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 blah. Register office. Oh wait, did we just fucking dox them? I mean, if it's public, then I guess. Is this a UK thing? This is interesting. All right, how do I read this? Go to filing history. Well, I'm on that. How do I get to the point where I just like see $1? Oh god, I don't want to show too much of their information. I mean, it's all public, so I guess it doesn't matter, but that's wild. How do I just like see $1 amount? View PDF of like which one? Charges? Well, I mean, even if it's pounds, bro, I'm not talking, when I say dollar amount, I meant like currency. My fault. I didn't mean literal, like a US dollar. I meant like, I wanted to see like, does that make sense? Like, I wanted to see like, okay. Change of share class name or designation statement of capital following an allotment of shares. January, look at full accounts. total exemption of full accounts. January. Does the US require this? They have 10 debtors. Cash at bank and on hand. 14 million. I mean, I guess it's reasonable to assume that they've spent like between 6 and 7 million. So wait, would this, so, well, I mean, that also might, I don't know if this includes revenue as well. Okay, so you have to ignore, you have to forgive my ignorance. I have to like learn how to read what the fuck I'm looking at, right? Because I've never looked at this before. So yeah, I need someone smarter than me. To tell me what their fucking yearly expenditure is versus the amount of money they have. Holy fuck, dude. They're at a loss of 1.5 million according to this document. Is that in total or is that yearly or annually? Keep scrolling, please. Well, I mean, it's like 5 pages, or well, I guess it's fucking 10 pages. Oh wait, what the fuck? How many pages are there? So this is annual of 2023. Okay, so we can assume that they spend 1.5 million a year, and they have 14 million on hand. Well, I mean, nobody that's looking at this game should expect them to be turning a profit currently. That's just unrealistic. Profit and loss account. So yeah, it's like a fucking... I don't really know what I'm supposed to take away from this. I just now realized these 2 columns are fucking by year. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't really expect them to make profit. Like, that's not realistic. Is total profit and loss? Oh, so, okay, so this is what they did. So this 1.5 million is total profit and loss. So that would be negative. So they lost on their account. They lost like essentially, like we'll round up 6 million for the year of 2023. So what do we assume that they're down in like the $13 million point? I mean, I mean, again, it should be very obvious that they're in the negative. I don't even, that's not like, oh my God, they're in the negative. See, I told you. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, honestly, that's kind of a lot cheaper than I expected. It's actually a lot cheaper than I expected. So, man, see, this makes me further just like, I just want them to crank up their spending per year then. But that's really like an ignorant thing for me to say. Like if they only lost 1.6 million last year, so they're not actually at a loss, they just haven't generated earnings. Well, I mean, they're at a loss because they lost money based, like they're not negative in the sense that they've they have no fucking money, but they're at a loss. They're negative in the sense that like, yeah, they're every year that they run this project, they're not making money, right? Unless things change and they make money. They're not spending money currently based on these numbers. They're not spending money. What do you mean they're not spending money? Maybe because they're not trying to make money yet. Well, they haven't opened the game up to free to play to try to generate a lot of earnings because the game won't retain, right? Like understandably running the game at a loss because your game's not ready to then generate revenue is understandable. The point is that can they ever get to the point where running the game free to play will actually generate more than they spend? Does that make sense? Like, Jesus fuck, this actually does hurt my fucking head. Okay. So, I need to know if this is, like, I'm assuming this is at the beginning of the year, right? So I'm assuming, like, at the start of the year, they had 14.6 million. And then at the end of the year, they, like, by the end of the year, they lost 1.6 million. The thing that's throwing me is this number right here. These numbers right here. That's the thing that throws me. I don't know what the fuck this means. That doesn't say negative 1.6, but it's profit and loss account. It would be naive to, it would be ridiculous to think they made $1.6 million. That's how much money they have. Okay, so they essentially broke even on the year, but this is debt money. So they're okay. So they essentially broke even on the year, but it's debt. Okay. Okay. So let's run through this again. They started the year with 14.6 million. They lost. They generated and lost 1.6 million. And then they end the year at 14.6 million. That confuses the fuck out of me. That confuses the fuck out of me. So I guess we just assume, I don't know how the fuck we go from this number to this number, but we assume that they this is actually great news. Is it great news? I fail to see how this is good or bad news. It just seems like they ran the game for a year and didn't generate any revenue on top of the fact that they owe $20 million, right? Like, this doesn't seem like a very good thing. I feel like it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still like a very bad thing, if that makes any sense. They started the year with 15.4. No, 15.4 was 2022. 15.4 is 2022. I'm trying to isolate to this one box for 2023. It's alone. It's fine. How is that? I feel like you're being facetious. You know nothing about it, so how can I say it's bad? Well, I mean, we're trying to kind of explore that talking point. I just wanted to show you and the other Doomers that they still have cash for a while. No, I agree with that. I've never... So here's the thing. I'm not even... I think I told you this on the podcast. I'm not concerned with their finances. I'm concerned with whether or not the game will ever actually reach a point where they can become profitable. Does that make sense? Like... I'm not worried about their finances because of the fact that I know that they have a fuck ton of money, and I don't think that they pay like a crazy amount of money for the jobs they have. And again, I also don't expect them to turn a profit. My point is, like, are they gonna run this game for 5 years before they expect for the player base to like grow and then turn a profit? Like what's like, how long do y'all expect? If they make a good product, why wouldn't they succeed? Well, I guess that the question comes down to, is this game a good product? Like, this game has been in development for like, I mean, it maybe hasn't been in full-fledged development for like 5 years, but it's like 5 years. Like, it's like this game has been in development for like 5 years. If it takes that long to make a good game, then why shouldn't it take 5 years? I mean, no, that's fine. I'm just saying, I guess that's fine, right? Like, Escape from Tarkov's in the same position. The only difference is that they are actually probably profitable. My point is that, like, they in a year of their development, they essentially did not do very well, right? And I don't expect that I didn't expect them to. But how long are they going to run the game? And how long are y'all actually like gonna stick around to play the game in hopes that it becomes profitable? Now, here's the thing, not 5 years. Well, I just spit out a number. I didn't actually do the math, right? What is it? 14.5 divided by what? 1.6? Is that the math that we're doing? And realistically, 2 years with a larger team. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Oh, you're talking about how long it's actually been in development. Well, let's say 2 years then. Sure. 2 years. It's been in development for 2 years. How long do you think it actually is going to take for them to come out and have like a product that grows, retains, and then becomes profitable? And like, will you still be around for that time? Like, do you care? Like, we just have to wait and see. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. 2 to 3 more. Holy fuck, dude. I don't think this game will survive that. Because here's the thing. What game do you know that is profitable? League of Legends, Smite. Like, games that are in the game genre. So not understanding their profit loss and spitting out incorrect numbers makes you worried about the game. What numbers did I spit out that were incorrect? I'm sitting here reading this, same as most of y'all, trying to understand it. I'm not making any like declaring statements. I'm saying that it seems very obvious that they're not running the game in a way that is growing. It's taking them a long time to create it. It has been in development for quite a while, and they like these numbers are all numbers that they're in debt. So like, even if they started the year at 14.6 million, they ended the year at 14.6 million. That is 14.6 million, probably on top of like another 5 to 7 more million that they're in the hole to investors. How long can they run this game without generating profit to pay back their investors? Do you not understand the point? Like, y'all are making it seem like because they started at 14.6 million, they ended at 14.6 million, that they're doing well. This is not good news. I'm not saying this is the craziest, worst news that it could have been. I'm actually a little impressed, but I'm saying this is still not good news. How was LoL and Smite doing at the beginning of their existence? In like the first month of free-to-play, Smite had like 4 million players and they were profitable. Smite also was developed on a team the size of 15 people that scaled to 50 people that scaled to 100 people. Smite did more than Pred did with less staff and was vastly more successful 10 years ago. Like, I don't understand why, like people are always like, oh, you can't compare it to Smite. It's like, yeah, you're right. Smite blows this game out of the fucking water. Yeah, but Smite didn't have Krashy talking about how bad the game was either. It's because Smite wasn't bad. And I didn't play it. The game market's also way more saturated now. Yeah, which is not like it's harder. Like it's harder. Like, you have to be like, dude, listen. I liken creating a successful free-to-play game to like making it in the NFL. You didn't play Smite because Smite was bad. I didn't play Smite because I was probably playing something else. I never played Smite and thought it was bad. I just didn't get into Smite. Like, I mean, I never got into Dota 2. I don't have an opinion that Dota 2 is bad. Are they actively marketing the game? No, because the game can't retain players. So why play this game? Play Smite? I'm waiting for Smite 2, and then I probably will jump ship. But you got into Pred and it's bad? Yes. Is that really that complicated? I don't understand. What's complicated about me trying a game when it was at the start of early access, having high expectations for the game failing those expectations, the game failing on their own promises, and then me calling the game bad? Like, are you dumb? Like, I started playing the game 14 months ago. I had high hopes for the game. I thought that they were going to do well. The game promised me a lot of things. They didn't do anything well. They continued to fail month over month over month. They're in the hole fucking $20 million and they're not generating revenue. And now I think the game is bad. Is that really that complicated to understand? But just accept that and move on? I mean, yeah, I could. I think it's my prerogative whether or not I want to talk about the game or move on, right? Do you get tired of this? Does it seem like I get tired of it? I don't, like, I kind of enjoy talking about games, right? Why someone who is passionate about MOBAs and plays video games but ignores a good third-person MOBA but plays a bad one? Because I'm currently waiting for the second iteration of Smite to come out to play it. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, I could go play Smite 1, but currently I'd rather do this while I wait. Who spends hours and hours talking bad about this bad game? I don't understand if you think that me talking about this game, like, hurts my soul. Like, let me ask y'all a serious question. Now, this is going to be a yes or no question. Do you think that talking about Pred makes me depressed? Do you think that talking about Pred, lessens the quality of my life? Answer the question. Do y'all think that talking about Pred lessens the quality of my life or has an issue on my mental health? Because I think some of y'all think it does. But it doesn't. I'm simply sitting here doing what I want to do. I enjoy talking about the game. Just because what I'm talking about is negative does not make me, like, I'm not having like an existential crisis. I'm just talking about a game. Like, have any of y'all do any of y'all know Asmongold at all? I don't think anyone's concerned about your health. I mean, that's a random, non-important thing to say, but cool, I guess. Talking about Pred makes you have an audience which generates streamer revenue, which is good. Dude, I made like $200 making content last month. Like, it's not, like, it's a hobby, dude. I have a full-time job. You know what I mean? Like I do all of this shit, like, as a hobby. All of this is a hobby. I do all of it for fun. You'd rather be negative about a game instead of having fun playing one you enjoy? That kind of says it all. I don't have a game that I enjoy to play. I don't understand what you're getting at, Mystic. Like, what is the game that you're suggesting that I would rather play? Like, what is the game? Because if there was a game I would rather play, I would be playing it. He doesn't enjoy playing games. I mean, true. There's not currently a game that I enjoy to play. I think that you're at least being somewhat truthful there. Like, there is not currently a game that I'm playing that I'm enjoying, but I usually play like one game at a time. So, like, the game that I'm currently invested in, I don't enjoy. No. My question is, do you guys think we should only say positive things about Pred, even though it's almost all bad right now? Yeah, that is a good question. I appreciate your honesty. Well, I mean, it's not like I'm saying anything that's super crazy, right? Like I usually in my career of playing games, I don't mean like career as in like it's my job, but in like my time of playing games, I'm usually like a one game at a time person. I usually invest myself both with my time and my efforts to make content and talk about things. I like sharing my opinions. It's one of my favorite things to do. And currently that's Pred, and no, I don't think Pred's very good. Well, that's the fact you don't have one kind of says it all. Isn't the point of gaming to have fun? I mean, I think for most, yeah. I think the part of the point of gaming for me is to like have something to focus on, like spend my free time on, not necessarily just to have fun. Like I like investing myself in a community. I like speaking about my opinions. Like a lot of my content, I don't know if y'all noticed, most of my content is usually my opinion. It's not really the gameplay. Like it's my perspective on things. So I think it's a bit naive to think that I'm sitting here not enjoying what I'm doing. Because why? Because then the question would be, why am I doing it? Right? I didn't say I didn't enjoy any games. I'm saying there's not currently a game that I like very much so enjoy currently. So you'd rather spend your time being negative about a game than finding a game you would like to praise. Well, it's not that I'm not spending time looking for a game. It's just that currently I don't have a game. I'm just a little confused. I'm just a little confused that like I think y'all are trying to like paint me in a way where it's like I'm going well out of my way to doom and gloom Pred, when the reality is like I just don't have another game that I play. No. Power World to be hitting. Well, my thing is like I also do have like personal criteria for games that I play. Like I play like multiplayer PvP games, right? And there have been games that I've played. Like I liked the finals. I didn't really see much of a future for the game, so I didn't really stick around for it. But I played the finals for like a little bit. It's pretty fun. I do like TFT, but I tend to fall off in playing TFT because they change the sets like pretty fast, and I don't really stick with it all that well. But like I think TFT is a pretty fun game. Like there are other games that I think are good and I play, but I usually tend to pick one game and main it. And anybody that's a content creator kind of understands why that is, right? Like I think the people that are like making the case against me, like, oh well, you just don't like games, and like how pathetic is it that like, or whatever you're trying to say, like I think you're just like really missing the point. How can you like a game you don't enjoy? Dude, that is a really simple question to answer. I don't enjoy playing Pred because I currently think that the current state of Pred is bad, but I love the game because I'm invested in the game. I've played a lot of the game. I think the gameplay has a lot of potential, and I think that it's there's a lot of good things about the game, but the majority of it is bad. It's actually very, very simple. I have played the game for 14 months and I've seen very little to no improvements over that time period. And if I'm someone that cares about something, I would personally rather do what I can to contribute to the conversation to hopefully see that it would improve rather than to just walk away from it. Again, I love making the comparison to like having like a family member that's like coked out, right? Like if you had like a cousin and your cousin was addicted to heroin, would you just abandon your cousin, or would you try everything you can? You would say the things that are hard to say. You would do what you can to give them ideas, to give them support, to help them through that, right? Like I think it's completely silly to think that it's impossible to dislike something and like something at the same time. That's just really naive. Saying work faster is kind of giga stupid. Krashy saying content release is slow does nothing, will not speed up development any faster. Yeah, but it doesn't make it not true either, right? Like, you can say that my opinion's irrelevant, but it doesn't make it not true. Like, legit trying to understand why you wouldn't just give it a break, play another game, and come back later on. I mean, I did that for a month. Also, like, no offense, but like, this is where I think like you have to understand that people just have free will, right? Like, it's my prerogative. I can just do whatever I want, right? Like, you may not understand it, but I can just do whatever I want at the end of the day. Also, like, I think this is also very important. I think that any other person, like, you all have your own free will to just not pay attention to me, right? Like, that's also fair. Like, I think that's fair. Also, Pred has super high potential. Is the best way to help it grow to sit back and watch it crash? Yeah, I don't think so. It's like a parent seeing the smoke crack in your parents. Don't say anything, then no one. Yeah. They only speed up development with the hiring of more employees. Yeah, I think they should hire more employees. That's been one of the things that I say they should do. I completely agree that they should hire more employees. It's one of the things that I think they absolutely should do. Like, for example, I'm going to give, this is super hypothetical because I can't prove anything here, but do y'all believe that I had any kind of an instrumental part in them changing their mind about the contract system and the free-to-play currency? Yes or no? Because I absolutely do. I think it would be naive and silly to think that I didn't play a very big part in them changing their opinion on that. I was at the forefront of that argument. I advocated hard against the contract system, very seriously. I think if not for people like me, not me, I'm not saying if not for me and people like me, they would probably not have taken that feedback and changed their minds. I think you voiced an opinion of a lot of players, absolutely, and I think that's like, if we have a duty to a game that we love, then you should do it, right? And my duty is to share my opinions, and if it's a shared sentiment, then the more the better, right? They did their entire dev stream out of their bedrooms. Do you remember when Paragon used to? Well, I mean, it's a much smaller studio, right? I think that's fine. I don't. I think it was too coincidental for your feedback to not have made a difference. I don't think it's coincidence at all. I think I absolutely was a very large part of that, as well as others who had the same thing, right? What did they say on the dev stream? Well, I mean, we're just like recapping a lot of the dev stream. They said a lot. But probably a collective, but for sure they saw it. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, I mean, 9 puts it in a little bit more of like a prestigious sounding way, but I'm absolutely like a version of free consulting, right? Like I'm free ideas. You have a link to the devs? I don't. I really don't have a link to the devs. The devs have kicked me out of the content creator Discord. The devs have kicked me out of the regular Discord. The CEO of the company has unfollowed me on Twitter. I don't really have much of a connection with any of the devs except for like one. I'm kind of friends with one dev. Yeah, but what do you do when a baby keeps crying? You give it a pacifier? I don't understand the analogy. Had a lot of polish in Paragon. Was also my predecessor going to survive. Yeah, I don't know. Just trolling you? Oh. I mean, it was kind of funny. I just didn't understand it. Just joined what changed their development happened. I mean, I'm not sure. Gonna be friends with that fat ass meow? Wait, what? Did you just ask me to meow? I think the issue is that no changes in their development happen. Like, I mean, I can look back to the 14 months and show you how little has changed, but even something as simple as looking back to the last 4 months to show you that nothing has changed. Like, they did this whole stream and nothing's really changed even from then. I just think it's very telling, man. It's very telling to look at the track record and to constantly recognize how consistent it is. You know? No, I'm not in the Discord anymore. I got removed from the Discord for talking shit. They literally mentioned him in a podcast and mocked his opinions only for them to go back on their word and do what Krashy suggested months ago. Wait, what? When did that happen? The mocking my opinions thing. The only community that's gotten the devs to change on was paid master skin and they maybe affinity system or hero acquisition. Yeah, I get that, but I think that those are like really big things that have changed, right? And even still, them changing the paid master skin was still a shit cop-out, right? You think preparing themselves for console release maybe delayed some of the development of the actual game? I think that everything they have done has been too slow, so anything that they focus on will force everything else to be done very slowly. So yes. What's the player base with PlayStation or a rough estimate? I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm going to be honest. How hard do you took to get PlayStation up and running with the dev team? I think it took like the better part of like 8 months. I think it was everything they worked on for the majority of the last year was getting console going.
And want to talk about something a little bit exciting. Again, very far
Or
off in the
continue
future,
this because why not?
So let's just remember that with all of this talk. What I guess import. What can you tell us
God damn,
about
it's already almost 10 o'clock.
any new game mode?
Yeah, so just to piggyback off of what Alex was saying in regards to, just adding new modes or
Krashy, actually a deep state OP agent here to destabilize the Pred community. I'll put it this way. I think that 9 is kind of onto something. Obviously he's joking, but he said devs in shambles seeing Krashy #1 in views in their game on Twitch. I think if I am polarizing enough to have these opinions and to have enough people agreeing with me and arguing against me, at minimum, you can look at the bigger picture, right? Like you can remove yourself from the bigger picture, look down at everything that's happening and say, well, something's fucked up, right? Like, I think that's at minimum, you can do that, right? Like at minimum, you can look down at Pred and say, why is one of their like creators like shitting on the game? And why does he have a fuck ton of views? Why are there people that are hard agreeing with him and hard disagreeing with him? Why is he going through the effort of doing all the things that he's doing? It's like, it's very obvious. Like people that are happy don't go through the steps that I've gone through, right? Like, so I think at minimum, it's very simple logic to take the situation that we're in currently, and you either have to decide one of two things. Is there any merit to what I'm saying at all, or am I absolutely fucking insane? And if you can answer that question, I would love to hear it. Is there any merit to what we're doing here at all, or am I a fucking lunatic? Does that make sense? Because if you think I'm absolutely insane, that's your prerogative, but I'm going to spit it right back at you, right? Like there's no way you sit there and absolutely think that there is zero chance and zero validity to what I'm saying and doing. You know what I mean? Maybe I can make my argument less aggressive if you want people to listen. That's just not my way. I mean, I think you're right? You know? I think you're right. I think that if I was like a bit more of a tempered person, then it would probably be more beneficial. But the reality is that like, I think that you kind of lose that benefit of the doubt from me, right? I just feel sometimes you go extremes. It's just my take on it. I mean, I do go to extremes, but I go to extremes. You want to know why I go to extremes? I go to extremes because I have literally watched like 10 games die in this exact fashion. Like I've done this before. This is not me speaking out of opinion. It's like me speaking from experience. It is opinion, don't get me wrong, but I've done this before. I've done this with a game called Spellbreak. I did it with a game called Blood Hunt. I did it with a game called Infinite Crisis. I watched Strife die. I watched Dawngate die. I watched Gigantic die. I mean, not all of them have died in the exact same way, but I've literally done this all before. I've done all of this before. I've watched every dev make that have gone through these games that die, and I've watched them make the same decisions over and over and over again, making stupid fucking choices. And I just sit back and I just sit there and wait and I wait and I wait and I tell them, I give information, I do what I can, and then boom, it dies. And again, the reality is that 99% of free-to-play games die. They just do. 99% of them. So if you know that 99% of them die, then you have to hold the ones that are still around to the highest of standard. Do you know what I mean? You have to sit there and look at them and say, please figure it out. I just think that if you have a legitimate criticism about the gameplay, that's the direction we should go. For example, I'd like to be able to objective red, blue health bars and have wars. Well, but I've done all that, right? Me telling them how to run their company is completely unhinged. You and I have no idea how to run a company. I don't know how to run a company, but I have watched plenty of games do the exact same thing that they're doing now, and those companies probably don't. Like, most of those companies don't exist. So, like, I think it's a little silly to say, like, I have no idea how to run a company. Like, no, literally, I don't. I don't know what it's like to hire. I don't know what it's like to create development pipelines, but I do know that slow development kills games. I do know that the only thing that kills games is the developers themselves, and I know that this game is currently on a track to not have a future. So, like, you're right, I don't. But guess what? I've already given my thoughts about gameplay, and we can do that whenever we want, right? Like, I can do that too. I can talk about my issues with the map. I can talk about how the first point of feedback I ever gave them was that there needed to be numbered health bars on blue and red. That still hasn't happened 14 months later. I can talk about how the fact that when they announced their idea for competitive nights, it was a failure on paper. I can talk about that. I can talk about all the literal things that are happening in the game, but I think it's irrelevant if the game's still on a track that has no future, you know? Like, I just don't see how anyone thinks that this game could possibly survive. They probably should have focused on making the game good before they focused on console. I genuinely believe that the best thing they could have done was not to release the game early access to the public for, like, the last 14 months. I think that they probably should have released early access to the public, like, around now, like January 2024. I think we all got in too soon. I do. I think we are all here way, way too soon. And that leads to the agitation. Personally.
Queues or however else, right? And segregating the player base. You know, ranked is one of those things that we 100% need going into free to play. It's just part of the core loop of MOBAs. You know, it's a competitive game at the end of the day. But at the same time, it's like there's also times that you want to wind down, and games are also just a vehicle that you play with your friends. So at the same time, we're looking into casual game modes as well. Right, you know, League has ARAM, Smite has all of its various different modes, and so on and so forth, and it's something that we're looking into as well. Currently, it's undecided on exactly what direction we're going to go, but understand that we're considering a bunch of different things, right? You know, obviously, MOBAs inherently are arena-based games. What if you leaned into the arena brawlery aspect more?
Well, at that point, though, you don't have to play it right now. It's for people who want to play it, because, you know what I mean? I mean, you're absolutely right. Also, President Tim just said, then why play the game if you truly feel the game isn't going to be around? This is a topic I don't like talking about because it truly forces me to explain my weakness. Are you ready to for me to explain my weakness? At the end of the day, I'm human, right? Which means I'm perfectly imperfect, and I am currently suffering from what's called the sunk cost fallacy. Now, the sunk cost fallacy definitely hits people in a way where if you're a normal player and you've sunk a lot of time, effort, money, or whatever into the game, then you want to keep playing it. Even if it brings you grief, even if it frustrates you, even if you don't actually enjoy it all that much, it's hard to leave something behind. This is true. Now, I want you to take that and recognize that I've also set down roots as a player, but as a content creator and as a person that's invested a lot of the last better part of my year plus into talking about the game. I'm so fucking ingrained in this game that even though I'm about 90% sure that this game has no future, it is very, very hard for me to walk away from it. It's just the truth. Do I think that it might be better for me to walk away from it? Maybe. I've definitely considered it. But it's just not that simple. So where y'all see an opportunity for it to be black and white and say, well, if you don't like the game, then leave. Or if you don't like the game, then why play it? I have a much more complicated relationship with the game, right? Like, the game for me, it's just not that simple to walk away from, right? Like, I think in a part of me has to ride this out because I need to see if I'm right, but I also am trying to not be. Like, I'm trying to say the things and do the things that don't make me right. It's an addiction, but it's a mental fucking fuck up. You know what I mean? I feel stuck, you know, but here's the thing. The craziest thing is I'm not the only one, right? Like, it's like, there's so many people that are in the same position that are in a love-hate relationship with the game. They truly don't actually believe that it's good. They just kind of sit there and don't really do anything. They don't have a reason to play. They just kind of forcibly like play the game. They're miserable between PCCs, right? They're playing the game because it's the game that they're kind of popping off in, and they want to have the future, content creator role or streamer role. Like, I'm not the only one, dude. There's a bunch of us that are absolutely just stuck on the game because we're sticking around because we want to see what can happen with it. And also, this is very important. I think this is super, super important. We also see the potential too, right? If I thought the game had zero potential, I definitely would just leave. If I didn't believe it was going to stick around and I didn't think it had any potential, then that would just be stupid for me to stick around. But I do see the potential, and I think it's mostly going to die, but I do see the potential. So like knowing that there's like a 10% chance for it to actually make it kind of makes me want to ride it out. It's complicated. It's very complicated.
What if we shrink the party sizes down? Maybe 3v3, 2v2, 4v4. These are all considerations that we're making. And I think in general, it'd be really nice to just have something that's just fun and rather than just being purely competitive. And that's essentially what we're looking into. It's just one of our goals for free to play is like, we need another game mode, a way to wind up.
Krashy, you just need to get laid, homie. I feel like that's mostly a joke, but I want to get like really angry at you for saying that. Like, it's fresh. Like, I want to, like, I want to like, yeah, I needed to like temper myself a little bit there because like I wanted to like really pop off on you. But I also could just like sense that you're fucking with me. Because it like, I don't know, that was just like leaning a little too personal for me personally, but it is what it is. I call people morons all fucking day long, right? Do it, pussy, you won't. I don't know, like something like no, I can't. Like the thing I want to say is like too out of line because I know you're fucking around, so I have to leave it around. I have to leave it there, right? Like I don't like, I can't say the thing that I was gonna say because like truthfully I have a very short fuse. I do my fuse is super short, so I was gonna pop off and say the worst fucking thing I could think of, but I don't think that it's warranted, so I'm just gonna fucking not. I'm just gonna fucking not. You think you're gonna hurt his feelings? No, I don't think I'm gonna hurt his feelings, but I do think that there's no way that I could have said what I like. I think that what I would have said was it was just like out of line. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's out of line. Like, it's not something I would have wanted someone to say to me, given the circumstances. But no, I don't think I'm gonna hurt his feelings. But I don't know. I also have like I mostly have an iron chin, so I can usually take it. Sometimes I get upset though. Ironic enough, the thing that upsets me the most is like stupidity. Like usually, like that's not directed at SockCap. I usually just get mad when people are dumb though. I usually just get mad at people that are dumb. Don't let SockCap fool you. He doesn't get laid. His pillow gets all the attention. True.
Up or wind down to warm yourself up before ranks, but we also need rank to facilitate that loop, right? It's all a part of the MOBA experience.
Are you gonna say some crazy shit that means more content for the next predecessor community isn't okay? No.
It's probably gonna be about what you expect.
No. I have to keep that in mind too. I have to keep that in mind too.
And everything that we learn from the new game mode whenever it comes out will just help us.
No.
Community topics, which is just acquiring data and just seeing what works in regards to new maps, right? Which is what everybody wants.
Just needs the speed development. Moving from 2 to 3 weeks have been rough. All the patches have barely. If any other new gameplay elements,
everything that we
14
learned
months.
From this new game mode will be applied to the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done it again, Import. It's like you're in my mind. You know, I love it. So we're going to move on to some community questions now.
I've done enough and I'm paying the price. That's funny.
Half of the stream or so. And as Import was saying, one of the most popular topics.
Okay, so I guess I should try to kind of get back on track. The last little segment was about like new game modes. Obviously, they also haven't delivered on a new game mode. So again, I'm just adding more fuel to the fire of like the track record does not look good for a meta. They have not really done much. I'm going to try to get high-res employees, but they had Smite 2, so it didn't work out. Well, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, Smite 2 is... So here's the thing. Here's another thing. When it comes to talking about, like, predecessor hiring new devs, it's actually hard because they're an indie studio. Like, they probably don't pay comparative salaries. And two, like, they're an indie studio. There's not much, like... There's, like... It's like going independent, right? Like it's really, really like you can't guarantee a future if you're an indie studio. So it's really, really hard. It's really fucking hard. When was this stream? This dev stream was 4 months ago.
The map. I've got here in my notes, because what I like to do in these streams is call out the people who ask the question. But there were so many people that asked about the map that I've got the original poster as literally everyone. So yeah, it was one of the most popular topics. So I guess the main question to ask, and there's going to be a long list of things to discuss about this. Are we planning on any changes in the future to the map? And if so, what sort of things can people expect to see? We'll pass that one to Import again.
Changes to the map.
Yep. So obviously, I think I can speak comfortably for everybody in the design team in terms of what we would like to iterate on.
You said you heard stuff about the new game mode. Does it sound good? So I'm going to leak that someone leaked details about the new game mode to me, and I'm not going to leak who. I'm not going to explain how I know anything because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, and I also don't want to ruin my potential leaking source. I heard that it's not good. So, yeah. Now, that might just sound like a bullshit doomer crashy thing to say. I've heard that it's not very good. So, yeah, that sucks.
On the map, namely for things like rotation times, like we would like them to be longer. In general, the map should probably be bigger. The pits should probably change.
What kind of mode? I'm not going to leak the specifics.
The orientation, their location, it's all up for debate.
That's some BS doomer crashy bullshit. That's fair to say.
Really, just the nice thing about having a canvas that we can expand upon in a wider map is, you know, we can also make.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong too, but I also have to hope that the person that told me that is wrong.
Predecessor is currently, right? And also, you know, just try and include some more verticality. Really,
I meant to listen to this segment and I didn't.
Are we planning on any changes in the future to the map?
I was not actually paying attention.
So, what sort of things can people expect to see? We'll pass that one to Import again.
Yep. So obviously, I think I can speak comfortably for everybody in the design team in terms of what we would like to iterate on the map, namely for things like rotation times, like we would like them to be longer. In general, the map should probably be bigger. The pits should probably change. The pits being the Fang2 or Prime pit, their orientation, their location, it's all up for debate in our minds. And really, just the nice thing about having a canvas that we can expand upon in a wider map is, you know, we can also make structural changes to the jungle and just make it even more immersive experience than what Predecessor is currently, right?
Okay, so obviously this section is about map, and Import's just gone on for probably about a minute talking about map changes. And again, all I'm doing here is trying to look backward and connect the dots to give myself a little bit of credibility. It's been 4 months in this dev stream. Obviously you and I both know that like the game has not made any map changes. Personally, I think that like map changes, the discussion about map changes is one of the few things that I like, or is one of the main things that I'll point to and say this is absolutely like inexplicable to me. It makes no sense that there have not been map changes. There is not like we can talk about dev speed, we can talk about like it's hard for them to hire, we can talk about the hypotheticals of like whether or not they can continue to run the company, blah blah. We can do all those hypotheticals. The fact that they have not made any kind of map change is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like it makes no fucking sense. Like it's been one of the biggest criticisms that the game has ever had, and they just like at this point it's just sheer negligence. I can't title this anything other than negligence. Why haven't you changed the map? It makes no fucking sense that they haven't tried something. Makes no fucking sense. Just try something. And again, this might be one of those things, because I was talking about this earlier. This might be one of those things that they've tried in internal testing. It just never made it to the game. But at that point, we can't feel that. So it makes no sense. It makes absolutely 0% sense that people have been asking to try map changes and they just don't do it. It makes no fucking sense. Gamers with the problems of the games. Yep. Hey guys, you heard it here first. We're all the reason why games die. Has nothing to do with bad development, poor management, lack of, adequately allocating funds, and or just a lack of talent and inexperience, right? Crazy, huh? Change what about it? Change the pits, make them more accessible, add more verticality to the map, close off sight lines from lane to lane. Like there's so many things that people have been asking for about the map and they just don't do it. They just don't, dude. It makes no fucking sense. It's frustrating. And also, just try and include some more verticality, really lean into this special thing that we have that we just clearly don't use enough, right? Those special moments when you're able to just blink over ground or actually play within pockets so you can really use your blink or use a Gideon portal, for instance. Like we want to be able to emphasize those type of moments even more. And so, yeah, I'll hand it off to anybody else who wants to speak, because I'm sure everybody else wants a piece of the pie, but it's definitely something that all of us very much care about. I'll put it this way, and this is not like you can go do your own research, or I guess you could ask questions if you want. OP has a very fucking good map. Like when I played Overprime, I wasn't like, I don't even think Overprime's like that amazing of a game, like, or anything. I'm not like super smitten about Overprime. I think that game's probably more fucked than Pred is, actually. But Overprime's map is fucking amazing. It's so goddamn good, it's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. It's just frustrating to like play like two versions of a similar game and like one map be like pretty shit and the other map be like really fucking good. Yeah, I don't know. OP lanes are trash, but the rest is okay. I don't even really, mid lane could be better, but like I'm mostly okay with it. But yeah, I'm smitten about OP because they have everything except a couple of really bad gameplay things. Yeah, but the problem is I think that both games are fucked, right? Like, I don't know. The only problem that, like, my main issues with OP are literally all the things that Crazyful has an issue with. The orb prime mechanic is fucked. The lack of 2 towers in lane is fucked. The sprint mode is fucked. Like, you change those things and the game is actually just so good. I mean, they need to improve gameplay quality, but like, and again, I still like Pred more than OP, just for the sake of saying. But yeah, if you change those things, OP is like pretty fucking good. But I'm pretty sure OP is fucked. So just saying. I'm pretty certain that OP is more fucked than Pred, but at least they have a good map. So there's that. You like the teleporters? And they're fine.
Yeah.
Like, they grew on me.
The map is super
map is horrible in OP? No, you're just retarded.
The game was very different.
That's just a stupid thing to say.
Way back then.
I think the teleporters are still kind of an L, but like, I got used to them, so it's fine.
But yeah, the game's come much further since then. We've got faster base move speeds on characters, and characters function a bit differently now. We have got more characters that access verticality. We're even trying to put more in even as we go along. So
dude, I don't know where my glasses are. I've been wanting them for like 2 weeks now.
And try and spruce it up a little bit, a bit larger, make those
When I moved,
rotation
I
times
lost them.
normalized again, and make sure gameplay is fit for purpose pretty much.
I guess I can add as well. Even though we're discussing this and we have we've already looked into some changes to the map, like we're not expecting to release any map changes this year. Our focus in that regard is on the new mode and our level design resources. But like Import stated, right, like things we're trying to test in the mode are in the idea of like, hey, is this way of accessing verticality on a map level interesting? Is this something that can work?
Okay, I need to employ y'all to help me find something. I said it earlier in the stream, but I need help. Somewhere, I don't remember where it is. I promise you, it's somewhere fucking out there. I promise you, they wrote down that Predecessor's early access was going to have like lots of changes. Someone, please, for the love of God, help me find that, because I need to be able to point to it so I can use it as a point of reference. I know to God, I know for all, I will bet my fucking life on it. I know that it is written in text somewhere. I just don't remember where. But I'm so annoyed with this like concept of like, oh yeah, we're making a new game mode and that's going to help us test out things and then maybe we'll try those things in the new mode. It's fucking annoying, dude. It's out there somewhere. I know that it's out there, but it's really, really annoying to know that they said that they were going to make a bunch of changes and they don't change anything. Was it in the roadmap? Well, I just don't remember which one. I feel like I read it recently. I just don't know, man. Like, I just don't remember where it is. I read it recently. I didn't read it today. That's the other thing too. I didn't read it today. I know I read it like fucking recently. Or like, is there just like a, I want to say it's like, fuck, dude. Like, did they announce, or like, is it that when they announced early access, maybe? It's in a podcast, not a blog. No, I promise you it's in writing. I know on my life that it's in writing. I remember it. I remember it on my life for some reason. I just have to find it. Fucking competitive nights, Jesus Christ. Ew. Thank God they started doing like better artwork. Shit's trash. I know it exists. I just have to find it. Is this when early access roadmap? Is this when? Oh, rest in peace. I mean, he's not dead, but he doesn't work there anymore. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said rest in peace. Road to early access. Dude, maybe I should just read through all the old blogs. Dude. Smite 2 have a Y-axis? I mean, it's still more or less the same game, but it has a guaranteed future, so that's kind of the attract. Like the fact that they're basically like relaunching on a new emblem or on a new engine, and is wait, predecessors designed to be a competitive experience, and we're currently adding our MMR system out of fucking Christ. I want to pull my fucking dick off. Okay, so it's not in here. Like the thing that's attractive to me about Smite 2 is the fact that like it's coming out, it basically has a guaranteed future, and I don't have to be overwhelmed with it being like an older game. Like I get to just kind of like dive in whenever it has a smaller roster. So if you remember any keywords, search them for the blogs. Yeah, I just don't remember the keywords. I just remember reading that they were going to like make like, I remember it was something like in early access, we're going to be like, early access is like the time to make like lots of changes. Like, I just know it's like, I know it's somewhere. I'm just trying to remember what I read. Yeah, I don't know. One hero every month. As Robbie announced in the predecessor early access and beyond video, we'll be releasing a new hero every month. Along with each new hero release, we'll be doing balance patches to ensure the best possible gameplay experience. If we feel the current balance cadence is not sufficient, we'll increase the frequency of these patches. Damn, I thought that said the hero release cadence, but regardless, I mean, it is too slow. Fuck, I just don't know. Smite 2 Alpha is going to have 80 heroes. I wouldn't exactly say that's small. I thought they said they were going to start with like 30 and then work their way up to 50. I'm pretty sure that the Alpha is not just going to drop with 80 heroes. I think you're misunderstanding or misremembering. Fuck, I don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it. I just remember that I read it somewhere, but I'll have to find it.
In the main map. We've been testing some of these features in the main map already, but yeah, just don't expect a full rework of the map this year. That could change. I think things are always different. Things are changing, but we know it's important. We just want to make sure that we're in the right direction, and we're happy with that. But we are exploring it, and hopefully we have our mindset on exactly how we want to change it soon, and then can deliver a big update to it. There was also a question about seasonal map. I can already confirm there won't be a seasonal map this year for Winterfest. We will have a seasonal event, I hope, if everything goes according to plan.
They're starting at 20. They're releasing a new god every week until they get to 50, and then they're slowing down to every 2 weeks until they get to 100.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how much this matters, because obviously there is like there are differences. Like there are differences between the early development of Smite and the early development of Pred. The main difference is that it's a completely different market. It's 10 years ago, right? But I do want to show y'all like the research that I did recently. Like I do think that it's worth bringing up to some degree, right? Like this is what I was doing. This is research I did like a handful of days ago. I said over a decade ago, Smite released significant map changes during their open beta in June 2013, while releasing a new god every 2 to 3 weeks at about 37 to 38 gods total. This was 13 months after the launch of their closed beta, not to mention sweeping art changes to Conquest just 2 months later. They also had the Arena and Joust game mode available. This is what Smite accomplished 10 years ago. And it was like and it was like a new game, right? Like predecessor has made little to no map changes, a total roster size of 33 heroes with a hero release schedule of 1 per 4 weeks, later slowed down to 1 every 6 weeks, almost 14 months after entering early access. So I'm kind of like showing the difference between what Pred has accomplished in 14 months versus what Smite accomplished at 13 months. Like they didn't have assets given to them. They you know what I mean? Like they were funded. Sure, they had funding. So both games have had funding because they had like a founder that funded the fuck out of the project. But this was 10 years ago on older technology, right? Like so I don't know, man. Like when I compare Smite and Pred, it's like you can just see that Smite did more. They just accomplished more. Like they just did. And it was a similar sized team. So this is a blog or like an interview that I found. I have the link to it right here. Who was involved with how many people brought the game to fruition? From concept through closed beta, the dev team was around 15 people. By open beta, it was more like 50 people, and now it's getting close to 100 people. When at the time of saying it's getting close to 100 people, that was release. So like the dev team was like similarly sized dev team. And then I said, it's also worth sharing when comparing Pred and LoL. 13 months, 1 game mode, laughing Lieutenant Bellica. So it's like, again, Smite had 3 game modes in 13 months, and Pred has 1. And then what did you identify as flaws with the likes of Dota and LoL? What sets Smite apart? LoL and Dota are two great games and have earned their place as the top 2 MOBA games, but Smite's a clear number 3 right now. And those other games, 80% of the abilities are lock-on, targeting, and aiming is the exception. In Smite, it's opposite. You aim like 90% of your attacks. I thought this was funny because like Soul Reaper bitches about Bellica, and it's just like the point of a big point of them making Smite and how they wanted to separate themselves was to make a game with like more aim. And then, like Pred has like a bunch of lock-ons, or like has some lock-ons, which I thought was funny. The dev said it took 4 people a month to remake Smite in Unreal 5, and they did it as if whatever. Yeah, I mean, but you just get my point. Like I try to show y'all track records. I try to show you fair comparisons, and people always say like, "Oh, it's not fair to compare Pred to Smite because Smite's like a huge company." It's like, dude, they weren't huge. Like they did more with the same people. Like they just did more. Like I don't know what to say. Like you can just do the research yourself. They just did more. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. They just accomplished more.
On something there, but we won't, for example, do a snow version of the map this year. It may be something we're able to do in the future. It's just definitely not going to be something we're committing to right now. But it's something that I love in other games, and I hope that we are able to support in the future. And that's just not for this season, but not for Winterfest, but like for multiple different seasons and events. I think it's a really cool way to spruce up the map a bit.
Yeah.
We're still on map changes.
I've got to say, with the
who the fuck cares? Doesn't change that you're cancers to this game. Well, guess what? Oh, dude. Oh my god. I actually didn't have a comeback because what you say is just so fucking stupid, man. Like, who cares that you bring irrefutable proof and evidence and arguments to back up what you say? You're cancer to the game. Like, like what the fuck? Like, I don't understand your argument, Birdman. Do you have a fucking argument? Do you have something you can stand on to argue against me? You know what, Birdman? If you can give me a good reason why I should stop doing what I'm doing, go for it. Why shouldn't I say all the things I say? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. You're just a fucking moron. Like, you are the person that brings the general IQ, like the average IQ down. You are that person. Like, when we look at like the average intellect of human beings, you're the person on the bottom end. You're the one that brings us all down. Say it. Why shouldn't I say the things I say? Because you're a fucking idiot. That's why. You can always just ignore me. You're right. I could. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Fuck it. I mean, you're not right. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I probably will just ban you here pretty soon. It's just annoying that like I actually I come from like a standpoint of like evidence and facts and like reasonable discussion, and your position is who cares? You're cancer. Like, at least I'm not a fucking moron, right? Like that, it's just frustrating. Sounds actually dumb, right? No, I mean, you're right. You're actually, I will agree with you. You are literally true. What you just said is absolutely true. I could definitely just ignore you. And on that note, you're a fucking idiot. I'll catch you later. I mean, it just is what it is, right? Like, you're just a fucking moron, dude. Like, there's no reasoning with someone like you, because you are like all the other dick suckers that just love Pred, and you have nothing better than to just suck off the game because you don't have an opinion, right? You're a brainless moron fuck, and you have nothing. Like, you got nothing, dude. So peace. Like, you're a non-factor. Like, you have no argument. You have nothing. You know what I mean? When you said you were Pred's biggest asset, was that talking about your yams? Yep. I don't know, dude. It is what it is.
Oh god, I think it was important.
I hate stupidity. That's the thing that gets me the most frustrated.
Some of my favorite moments.
Wait, look at predecessor report, looking ahead, read my previous comment. What was your previous comment? I might need you to copy paste it for me. I'll try to find it, but I might have missed it. They talk about new game modes. I think you were talking about Smite. I think I'm missing what you're asking me to check out. Look at predecessor report, looking ahead at 2024. Yeah, I don't know what do you want me to look at? If you can help clarify for me, I'll look at it.
Certain death. Now, we know that I main Greystone as much as
you're lost. Don't worry about it.
For some reason, makes some
Welcome
people
back.
laugh. Do you main Greystone as well, Alex?
Yeah, I'm a Greystone and Grux enjoyer. I like to press W and
me too.
L and B.
And I love just using Greystone's R&B to just jump out of the jungle, like just as I'm about.
I just want to I guess my point is that I understand. I'm smart enough to understand why people don't like what I do. I am. It's actually not complicated. I perfectly understand why people don't like what I do. But if you don't like what I do and you disagree with what I do, bring an argument to the table. Bring something to the table. Have a discussion, right? Don't just come in and say all you do is bitch and moan. Oh, you're a crybaby. Blah 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 blah. If you just have something to stand on. Put your fucking chest on it. Raise the argument and say it with your fucking chest and have a discussion. Because I don't mind doing that. I don't even mind being wrong. I don't mind having things that come to mind where I'm oh yeah, you know what? I do have to consider that. What I absolutely don't like is when people are just fucking morons, right? What do you want me to look at with the season 2 roadmap? I mean, this is mostly things. What's your step-by-step roadmap to improve the game while keeping information devs have said about development roadblocks? Hold on, I need to think about that. What is my step-by-step roadmap to improve the game while keeping the information devs have said about development roadblocks? See, that's the thing. I can tell you what the problem is. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have the solution. You wanted to look where they said about the early access to explore. We see early access as a time to experiment, iterate, and overhaul. Oh my God, it's in the new season roadmap? Or wait, it's in the... Which one is it? Is it in the looking ahead roadmap? There's no fucking way. Hold on, I'm going to come back to what Steve said. Give me a second. New features more rapidly. Wait, we have two. We see early access as a time to experiment, iterate, and overhaul if necessary. Fucking when? Okay, this is perfect. We have two times. There's an article where Robbie says the transitioning to building a new UI and they can introduce new features more rapidly. Okay, let's look at the word rapidly. We realize that this news may come as a disappointment to some of you, but the strategic decision will ultimately enable us to introduce more new features more rapidly in the future. Okay, so this is when they canceled season 2. This is when they canceled season 2, or they halted season 2, and they said oh, we're sorry, this is a disappointment, we'll do more things rapidly in the future. This is literally not that long ago when they this is them announcing what's coming for 2024, and they said we see early access as a time to experiment, iterate, and overhaul if necessary. Fucking when, dude? This is the part that's so frustrating. They literally don't do the things that they say they're gonna do. That's why I'm annoyed. They just don't do it. They absolutely just don't do it. Does that make sense? It's so frustrating. They just don't do the shit they say they're gonna do, and then they get people like me, right? I don't know. I just think at minimum you have to look at these things and build the track record. That's all I'm doing. I'm not just bitching for the sake of bitching. I'm bitching for the sake of building the track record. That's what we've done here. Okay, let me go back to what F6 said. Yeah, good find. I knew it was in fucking text somewhere. There was 2 of them too, by the way. So F6 said, what is your step-by-step roadmap to improve the game while keeping the information devs has said about development roadblocks? The literal answer is that I don't have it. I don't have a step-by-step plan for them. What I do have is pretty solid foundational arguments against what they're doing and why it's bad. The number one thing I can say is that the game is absolutely being developed too slowly. I'm confident in that. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that leads them to death. I'm not saying that the player base is dwindling. I'm not making defining statements like that. What I am saying is that this current pace of development, if they don't eventually find a way to speed up, it will never hold a player base at a reasonable enough size to sustain them and become profitable. So if we know that they're 20 million in the hole, right? Minimum. We know they're 20 million in the hole. They will never, at this current pace, they will never speed up or they will never retain enough players to become profitable. So that's what I know. So when it's very simple of me to say you need to develop the game faster, but I can't tell you how because I'm not inside the room. Does that make sense? How are they 20 million in the hole? They have a $20 million investment. That's $20 million they have to pay back. They have borrowed $20 million that that they have to pay back. That's how. And probably more, because people don't invest money just to get their money back. So they're in the hole. So even I can tell you that they need to develop the game faster, but I can't tell you how, because I don't know, right? They don't have to pay back, by the way. They don't have to pay back 20 million. That's just false. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. And it's not from Epic, by the way. It's from whatever holding company. Like, it's that just literally can't be true. We're extremely proud to share that we've closed a 20 million Series A round by Haveli Investments. If they don't have to pay this back, that's crazy. Yeah, I understand that there are angel investors, but I think that it would be very interesting to find out that they don't have to pay this back. I mean, if one of the Meta Studios can clarify that'd be awesome. I can't. I think I'll put it this way. Since I'm ignorant for sure, like I don't absolutely know, I have to assume that they have to pay it back. I'll just say that much. Unless we're specifically told that they don't have to pay this back, I think it's fair to assume that they have to pay it back. So I would say that most likely they have to pay this $20 million back, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I know that they need to speed up because they need to have a player base in order to be profitable, but I don't know how, because I don't know if it's a problem with the management. I don't know if it's a problem with the talent that they have. I don't know if it's because they can't hire more developers because they don't pay enough. I don't know, right? So they don't have to pay back the money. They just hold a share of the company. When the company starts making money, that's how investors make money back their money. Oh, so I mean, what, they're like they're shareholders. I mean, that I guess that's potentially fair too. Like, that's possible. But yeah, maybe they don't have to pay it back, but then those people just earn revenue each year if the game does hit profitable. Right, so I guess that's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible that they don't have to pay the investment back. Regardless, they need to make profit in order to not just waste the money, right? So at minimum, you would expect that they would hopefully not just waste $20 million, right? Hopefully that happens, right? Yeah, I guess it's possible to assume they don't have to pay the $20 million back. We're basically starting February, and they have but I don't want to shit on this party, but we are basically starting February, and they are kind of saying that all those changes are coming in the first part of 2024. Yeah, it's I mean, I definitely think it's like a little concerning that basically everything they've talked about in this dev stream 4 months ago has not been delivered, but also everything, you know, a lot of items in the season 2 roadmap were not delivered, and also we're still in season 3 because these seasons are super long and a lot of things haven't been delivered. So it's very just like, I think again, everything that I'm trying to do here is use evidence and track record to develop a track record. Like, it's very obvious that they are developing and unable to meet the demand of the player base. It's very obvious. So if they don't have to pay back, does your stance on the situation change? No, because regardless of the financial situation, they don't know how to captivate an audience. You know what I mean? Like even if they don't eat, like let's say they're completely broken even, they still don't have a player base that can make them profit, right? I don't know. I just assume, you have to assume that if they can't hold a large player base, that they won't be profitable, and if they're not profitable, the game eventually shuts down, even if that's in like 4 years, right? Yeah. We're all getting it if they do or don't. Like, we haven't ascertained whether or not they do or don't. Yeah, at minimum, we don't know if they have to pay the money back. But regardless, I think it's kind of it's like kind of irrelevant, because the reality is that, like, if they never reach a profitable point, then eventually they just shut down because they run out of money. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, if they don't eventually become profitable, then, like, it doesn't matter if this happens in 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. If they don't become profitable, then they will not sustain the studio. Like, they won't make payroll, you know? Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Just jump out of jungle. They can't follow me. I absolutely love it. Some of the best moments for me. And again, I know I'm coming from a fairly newbie perspective, but, you know, that's important too. So yeah, it's really, really very cool to hear about you know, more changes to the map. As Alex said, you know, and as I said before, this is all stuff that we're just chatting about, you know. A lot of things are subject to change, but, you know, we know that it's on the team's mind, and yeah, I think that's important. I mean, on the subject of verticality, and this time I can shout out people who have asked questions, because honestly, there were some really, you never really know what you're going to get when you ask for questions, and I was quite happy to see that there were so many.
Also, you know what, this is not really all that relevant, but I'm going to bring it up regardless. I think it's relevant to me, so I'm gonna bring it up. I want to talk about how I often get pinned for being like negative all the time, right? I get pinned, like people are always like talking about how I'm negative all the time and all I do is bitch and moan and blah, 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 blah. And that really frustrates me because I make this Reddit post, right? And this Reddit post, like I got kind of shit on, like people like agreed, but I got shit on a little bit. And it's Reddit. These people are all fucking idiots anyways. But my point is that like, let me read this to you and I want to ask your opinion on this. Like I'm going to ask y'all if this is like a good idea or a bad idea. So I said more frequent insight on what Ometa is working on would go a long way. Hey friends, Krashy here. It's no secret I'm not a fan of the pace of development for Predecessor, and while the development may be slow, I've been trying to think of a proposed solution that would help the game community through early access that doesn't just require the developers to increase their pace. If part of the goal of early access beta is for us to give our feedback and be invested in the development of the Predecessor, then I think the devs need to bring us in more. The most recent Looking Ahead blog post was full of amazing information that felt really good to hear as a fan of the game. However, those feel-good moments are few and far between, and I think bringing us into the process is what is being worked on more frequently could be a great way to continue to build faith with the community. I recognize that anytime I feel like I'm learning something new about Pred, what's to come, what is being worked on, it gives me a feeling of being involved. In those moments, I can feel my faith restored a bit, but then sadly over time that faith fades, and as months pass without any additional news or follow-up, as months pass without any news or follow-up. Let's take the aforementioned blog post. That blog was over a month ago and gave us a lot of information about what's to come this year, but I'd love to hear more about what the process of actually developing and implementing some of those changes and systems are. Overall, I want to have faith and feel involved, so I asked that I'm going to find ways to sacrifice some of their time to communicating with the player base more frequently. A dev diary video, a dev stream, Q&As about specific upcoming features, systems, etc. Here's a great example from Project Loki's Fireside Chat, another game in pre-alpha. Is this based or am I just too needy? So here's the thing. I really like this dev stream. The problem with this dev stream is, one, I don't think they do shit like this enough, and two, they don't actually fucking do the shit they say they're gonna do. So that's two problems, right? I really like shit like this, but why do they never do it? They just never do this kind of shit, and when they do, it's just all bullshit. So for one, cut the bullshit, right? Like literally cut the bullshit. Like just stop. Just stop the bullshit. If you say you're gonna fucking do something, do it. Some of it. It doesn't have to all be done. It's not like I want everything they talked about to be done by now, but do some of it. That would be nice. And also, too, dude, have y'all seen the Fireside Chats from Project Loki? Do y'all know what they're like? Let's watch one. Fireside Chat from Project Loki.
Jess again, executive producer of Project Loki. Welcome to our first Fireside Chat of 2024, where we talk about upcoming playtest changes and our thinking behind them. Friendly reminder, we're just a small, independent game studio that lives solely off of your likes, shares, comments, subscriptions, and playtest signups, so please do all of that because that's just how things work. First, playtest dates. They're happening. We're looking at a 3-day playtest, one in each.
Blah, blah, blah. You get the point, dude. It's a 5-minute video just giving a little bit of insight. It's a 5-minute video. You can't find one person to allocate maybe, I don't know, 10 hours worth of work to creating, to cutting down and compiling 5 minutes worth of footage and information to share. Do you know what I mean? Are they giving timelines that they're not following through on, or are you just wanting them to act on their vision sooner? Both. Like, literally both. They give timelines and then they don't deliver, and that, I mean, that's mostly what they've done in the past. I guess it's still kind of consistent now, but also they have this vision and they say they want to do all these things, but then it never happens. What type of game is this? This is like a MOBA battle royale. Is the beef that you don't have insight into what they're working on, so you're not sure if the issues are being addressed? No, the beef is that they say they're going to work on things, they never actually get it done, and then it goes, they tell us they're going to work on things, it never happens, and then we're stuck just wondering what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? Like, we just, like, referencing another game, how they do something is toxic. Referencing another game, how they do something is toxic. Welcome to capitalism. Like, I don't, like, what am I supposed to say to you? Like, that's, you compare comparative products to one another, and then that's what you do, and then that's how you understand which product is the better product. The fuck? What do you mean that's toxic? I'm literally just making a comparison between one game and another. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? What do I do with that opinion? Accountability is huge, although I think it's poor organization. It's just their first company, first business, first game, so it makes sense that they're not the best at captivating an audience. I've seen attempts at Ometa trying to be accountable. I do really think they subconsciously just spread themselves too thin, so they make huge promises but fail to deliver. I think they want to just get ahead of themselves. I think that that is the perfect way of explaining it. I think that it's not that predecessor is intentionally doing this like with malice. I think that they're in over their heads. I think that they're not a good enough studio. It feels bad to even say it. I think they're not a good enough studio for the scale of this project. I think that, look, I'll put it this way. This is just simple. A better studio with their hands on this project would have done a better job. That sounds stupid because, like, it's obvious, right? You could say that about anything, but it's just true, right? Like, a better studio, a more talented, more well-organized, more, like, maybe even better funded studio would have done more. He talks about how every other game is better than Pred, but he doesn't play any of them and plays Pred, but he calls us the dumb ones. I haven't touched a single game of Pred today. Suck my cock. Like, you're actually just dumb. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, that's just dumb. Like, if you're too stupid and incapable of understanding why I'm sitting here talking about Pred, just, like, go watch Netflix or something. I don't know. Epic Games is a better studio and killed Paragon. I mean, damn, that's fair. I guess that's fair. In general, on average. What's the argument for Paragon? It seems like that was a bigger, better studio. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe their vision, maybe the original vision of Paragon wasn't as good as the vision for Pred. Because I actually, when I look back at Paragon, I actually think that game looks like complete dog shit. Like, I don't think anything that Paragon looked like it was doing was very good, but I didn't really play it, so I don't know. I don't know. It's like going to a Coca-Cola store and saying, I wish they ran it like Pepsi. Yeah, the only problem is that Coca-Cola isn't failing as a product. That's a stupid analogy. That would be like going to a person, like, that would be like going to like a person's garage who's like trying to invent their own soda, recognizing all the issues and saying, hey, you need to be more like Pepsi. Like, let's at least make like a better analogy. And also, that's a dumb analogy.
Really good quality, well thought out questions. So this is from Krashy, who has said,
what the fuck?
How does a meta plan to take advantage of verticality with future designs to either the map or hero kits? I think we've pretty much covered what we can with the map, I think. So if we maybe look specifically on the hero kit side of it.
You can't compare anything to Fortnite? Why not? Why can't you compare anything to Fortnite? I think the fallacy that people have when it comes to like looking at games and development is that y'all think that you can't compare this game to every other free-to-play game when that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, there are better comparisons to make, I agree, but to say that you shouldn't compare Pred to XYZ game is so dumb, and it annoys me. I appreciate Pred's patience based on the Paragon experience. Well, the future lack of a player base won't. It felt to me like Paragon was in such a rush to get things out that they had to go back on half their decisions, and it crippled the player base with all the changes. Well, I mean, I think making a lot of changes is important, but I also think making a lot of changes that are good is also important. I wouldn't say that at all. They just tried to be so many things. They wanted to attract card game players for. I mean, when I look at Paragon, the game looks like shit, and I also hear I never played it, but I hear about the card system, and I have no idea how the fuck that made it into the game. It sounds terrible. But yeah, I don't know. They're going back on all their changes. They are, yeah. Again, I mean, I think it's bad that they announced the contract system. They got a bunch of criticism about it, like, and then they had to like walk back that decision. Like, it's a lot of wasted time and money. Like, it sucks. It sucks for them to recognize that they like, dude, we again, this is me building the track record. We literally have a track record of them making terrible decisions and having to go back on it, right? Like, they made the affinity system. They never said anything about having a paid track for it. They put the skin on the paid version. They had to walk back the decision. Granted, that probably didn't take them a lot of time and effort, but they had to walk back that decision. It doesn't look good, right? Then they have the contract system. The contract system's out for 3 months. They commit to changing it. It's like, dude, why are they making these dumb decisions? Well, then you have to look at like what is the inception of the dumb decision? It's like the person making it. So if we have a track record of them just making dumbass decisions and then having to fix it, it's like, why would we expect them to do anything other than be slow and make dumbass decisions, right? Do you not like Paragon the Overprime? Nah. I don't think it's very good. They should just hire you? No, I don't think they should hire me. I think they need to Here's the thing. I don't expect anything from all of this, right? I expect that they listen to harsh feedback like this and find ways to fix it. And here's the truth. The scary truth is that it may not be possible to fix this. This may just not be a game that's going to exist. Like I said, 99% of free-to-play games die. This is probably just one of those that falls in that category. It is what it is, right? I'm just trying to hope that they can figure it out, but they probably won't, right? Let's go on strike. No, that's pointless.
And perhaps, Blood, you can start us off. Alex, if you want to jump in and get involved, feel free. And you, Import, why not?
I mean, sometimes people's best just isn't good enough, right?
Here kits is something that we've been doing a decent amount. It's always tricky because it is that the map doesn't fully accommodate it currently, and also providing verticality to characters in excess will cause problems with characters that can't currently access them. So poor little Grux and his little rhino legs probably can't keep up with most of the other characters that are going over ledges and up walls. But that doesn't mean we don't want to do it. It's just how do we do it in a way that isn't frustrating for other users as well. So yeah, the upcoming future unique characters and even maybe changes on current Paragon roster that's still to come will be featuring some unique ways to interact with verticality. And another thing I want to be looking into more is characters that impact other heroes that utilize verticality more, so sort of on the inverse and trying to
again, I don't even think that they're like listening and not listening. I think that they're doing their best. I just think their best isn't good enough. And like, so that's why when people say like, well, what should they do, or like they ask me for solutions, and it's like, I don't know, dude. I actually don't, like, I don't know. Like I like, if I was them, and even then this is bullshit, right? Like I don't fucking know. I would try really hard to maybe like up their salaries, to like up their offers, to try to like really pull in some like really like well experienced and accoladed developers to like come and crank the fucking project, right? Like I feel like they need better leadership. And I'm not saying like replace people. I'm saying like hire good leaders. Like bring people in that are going to like run these teams of people better. Like bring people in that are going to like hold them to like more like accountable deadlines. Like bring people in that are going to look at concepts and recognize that the shit that they're making is not going to work and that they're going to have to go back and fix it. So that way they don't make that mistake to begin with. Like bring people in that maybe have like a better head on their shoulders about monetization. Like I just think that like, I don't actually have the solution. I just think that it's like very obvious if you look at it that like what they're doing isn't working. So like need to do something else.
Trying to, you know, kill a Kalari who's double jumping over walls all the time and counteracting that, rather than just doing it yourself as well. And that will allow us to then incorporate more verticality without as excessive changes to the map.
And it's not like everything they do is bad. I do think the gameplay is good.
Just across like, the roster as a whole.
Could be better, but
we've
it's pretty
also
good.
been looking into general universal sort of vertical movement on all characters.
Like maybe they need to prioritize better, or like
we have items like Galaxy Graves that people really enjoy, allowing characters like Grux to bounce around where they probably shouldn't.
Oh god, Duke, you did the dumb fucking thing that somebody always does. I fucking hate this. I hate when people do this. He did the argument from authority where he basically said, because I'm not a game dev with a successful game, that I'm not credible, right? Like my opinion isn't credible. Like that's so dumb, dude. Like you recognize that's stupid, right? Like at least say like, yeah, I know it's stupid, right? He said, where is your successful game than Einstein and Steve Jobs? It's so dumb. Do I need to be black to understand racism against black people? Like, do you know like how dumb that shit is? Like I'm also a consumer. I'm on the other side of it. Like the same way that I'm not black, right? I can't experience racism in that way, but I can be on the side of it and hear it and understand that it's fucking happening. Like the argument from authority shit is so fucking stupid. It's so goddamn stupid. Everybody has opinions about politics. It doesn't mean that they're right, but they have opinions. They have their thoughts. I'm in the same way, right? Like, it's so stupid. I fucking hate when people do that. Oh, well, why don't you make your own game? It's so goddamn dumb.
And we'd like to explore that further and see if there's ways that we can do that for most characters on a more base gameplay, core gameplay level, and see if there's any sort of like ideas there that could be fun for people to play with and mess around with, that could probably elevate our game a little bit to more of that faster paced shooter sort of style of gameplay, and not just as MOBA and grounded in that 2D space.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for them too. I think that this, I think that developing a free-to-play game is probably not worth it. But I've said that a handful of times.
Maybe
I think like making games like this is such an undertaking.
Just buy it like second item. Don't worry about who it is. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I will.
And then just understand why it's fun.
I'll tell them that you told me to do that as well, so that nobody in the game gets upset with me.
Ameda told me to do it.
Yeah, Ameda literally told me to do it. Please go.
Which Chris, by the way, Import left Ameda. No, he still works for Ameda. Import's still there. I was gonna say, Chris, by the way, I know we just missed a bunch of Loki playtests, but on some of the next ones we should play if you're down. By the way, if you're down.
Alex.
Just if you don't mind, just to chip in also on the conversation as well. One of the struggles that we've actually had in regards to
I want to play more Loki. I kind of shelved it for a little bit there, but I want to play more.
Kits that we have and how much they can actually interact in the air. So for instance, you can take the obvious examples like melees, like Declan or Bloodmortius mentioned. Sorry, he mentioned Grux. It's like the same thing.
What are you playtesting? Project Loki.
Like gadget, right? ground targeted abilities. What happens if a Kalari double jumps and you have a mine on the floor, right? Like these are questions that we have to answer. Or is it like gadget's kit does it need to be different? Like there are questions that need to be answered, but like Declan mentioned, we have to just add new kits that actually can interact with the air, but also maybe find other ways that every hero, even pre-existing Paragon heroes, can interact with the air. So for instance, whether that's, like Steve Superville used to say, just give everybody a grappling hook in our design meetings, the infamous, or even just create some version of blast cones like they have, or some other sort of thing. These are all ideas we've been thinking about, right? And just things that could happen.
I don't see predecessor having a long future.
It's a very hard question to answer.
So the funny thing is I'm not here to say that predecessor is going to like shut down by the end of the year. I think that predecessor will have a very small and obscure lifespan and will inevitably shut down. That's my hypothesis based on what I've seen. Like I think the game will probably rock for like another 2, maybe 3 years. It will probably never get big enough to sustain itself and earn profitability. And then like towards the end of the game's lifespan, they might do like a round of layoffs or something, or they might just ride it out. I don't fucking know. And then eventually they'll announce the shutdown of the game. Like that's probably what I expect. Do you think if you played the game less, you'd enjoy it more? I feel like the hours that streamers put into a game creates a high demand for constant change. Well, I mean, I think that the market of players, not content creators, has a high demand for constant change, right? Like the reality is this, right? When you're a person and you like, okay, I work from 8 to 5, right? I go to work. I wake up at like 7 in the morning. I go to work. I work at 8. I get off work. I get off work at 5 and I come home. Some days I go to the gym. Some days I cook food. Some days I just pick up food, whatever the case may be. Let's say from 5 p.m., let's just call it right at 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., which it's about to be for me currently. That's 6 hours. I have 6 hours to spend my free time. That's free time either going to the gym, which is a service I pay for, making food, which is like something that I pay for, or picking up food, spending time on like the couch watching Netflix, which is a service I pay for, right? Like any of those things. I have to all of those services and potential things are competing for my money and my time, right? So the market demanding change is because of the limited amount of free time that people have. Like, do you think that Netflix would be successful if they never added new shows? No, they wouldn't, right? All right, let's address this one. So Sinner said, let's be real, dog. You don't go to the gym. I go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week, and I can probably bench press your entire weight because you're probably a skinny, scrawny fuck. My last bench press PR max was like 300 fucking pounds. 300, no, it was 350. That was like a year and a half ago, though. No, that was like a year ago because I hurt my shoulder. So yeah, I go to the gym a lot, and I am very strong. Yeah, I'm overweight, but I'm literally strong. So that's it. I mean, I'm also kind of juicing too, though, because I'm on tests, but that's not the point. The point is like, yeah, I'm fat, right? Like, you're a pussy. You're a pussy. Who cares? Who cares what you fucking think? You're okay, let's make it simpler than that. I discuss and have strong opinions about a video game. You're sitting there watching me being upset about me having opinions about a video games. Which person is more of a fucking loser? Yeah. Good luck with that one.
It definitely comes down to a resource problem there where we're like dedicated and it's a requirement that we keep.
What's your squat? I actually never squat. I'm gonna be honest. I like doing leg presses, but I like never squat.
To address all of the older heroes is a hard balance. So it's something we have to be mindful of.
Same old Krashy dude killed. I see what up, Nacho Luke. Yeah, dude. I kill every mobile I touch. Apparently,
able to add a little bit more. And so
for the sake of saying, yes, I do need to cut. I need to lose about 80 pounds. I think I'd be happy if I lost like 80 more pounds, but yeah.
More and more options become available, and then we can go back. And
also, my lifts are probably low now because I hurt my shoulder and I was out of the gym for like 2.5 months.
Really struggle with if everyone can vertical leap out of every one of Steel's moves, for example.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty uninterested in listening to the rest of this. One, it's long, and two, like I think I'm spent. I'm fucking spent on listening to this. This is a pretty good topic about, like, they don't call it a hesitancy. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I actually give a shit to listen to in this. They talk about quadrupedal hero, which is like hypothetical. Someone ask a question. These are like Q&A questions, so I think a lot of these are pretty pointless. Yeah, like most of this is like pretty pointless. I think I'm pretty spent on this. I'll probably just hang out. What up, Zygor? I'll probably just hang out and then go to bed soon because it's like almost 11 o'clock. But in any case, what I planned to accomplish today was to continue to build the track record, or continue to expand on my opinion based on the track record, right? I don't just talk out of my ass. I have a lot of experience as a customer and as a player of free-to-play games. I have a lot of experience with MOBAs. I have a lot of experience with this game specifically, watching them overpromise and underdeliver. It is what it is, right? When you took the break to Overprime, did you find Pred more fun after the time away? I found that coming back to Pred after I took a month off gave me room to kind of like reappreciate the game again, but then it faded really fast, right? Like, it's the same thing. Like every time like a new hero, like when a new hero comes out, I'm super excited for like a week, and then I go back to like hating the game. So like, no, I think like nothing really gives me a feeling of enjoying the game except for like actual change, right? Like they can't, like, you can't just add, like, you can't sprinkle in something kind of good and it's going to make me happy. You have to like actually change and fix the issues for me to be happy with the game, right? So yeah, like I took my break, I played some Overprime, it's pretty fun, came back, I enjoyed the game for a little bit because it was like fun to get back into it, and then I was like pissed off again. Same thing with Kwong, right? Like Kwong came out, super fun, I really enjoyed playing Kwong. Now I'm just like pissed again because the matches suck. Like, I think my Ometa City, dude, like it's just been a mess lately. Like this game, I got support, and like my jungler died twice and AFK'd. This game, I got super fucking fed. My teammates were sprinters and I lost. Like, the game's just like, dude, it's like 1 in 15 games are like fun. Like most of my games that I win, I usually get super fed and it's not fucking fun. You know what I mean? It's just not fun. Like if you see the games, like you ever see a game with like a really low MMR variance, like you know something's wrong, right? Like I won this game and I barely got anything because the MMR variance was like so fucking high. You know what I mean? Like a 200 MMR difference or a 300 MMR difference or whatever the fuck it is, 200. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Just like, it just sucks to play, man. It sucks to play. Sucks to play, dude. I'm duder. Got super fed, but just like nothing but sprinters. Like, again, no offense to this guy, but like he probably has like a 47% win rate. I think it's 50 even. Actually, I'm actually surprised by that. Oh, he just got back into the game too. Damn, this dude took a long ass break. Like, dude, like this guy won a game. Dude, what the fuck? This guy won a game. He was 1 in 13. Holy shit. How the fuck does that even happen? Like, he's just a super sprinter, man. I played with this guy like 3 or 4 times, I think, and he just like sprints every game. He just sprints, dude. He just runs it down. 3 in 10. Like, I don't know. You get the point, right? Like, it's just like these games are just like not fun, dude. It's not fun. There's no penalty for people quitting out of matches. There's no penalty for anybody that gets reported for anything. Like, it's just, the game's just like not very good, dude. You think that the product of the redundancy of farming and the lack of variability in MOBAs, it seems like inherently MOBA players get more burnt out and frustrated than other genres? I don't think so. I think people get burnt out and frustrated in free to play like live service games because the only way for a live service game to be successful is for them to constantly get updated. So it's like it's a huge demand, and like most free to play games can't meet it, right? Like, and even the big successful games are still met with a ton of scrutiny, right? Like, it's not like everybody that plays League of Legends is happy, but like the majority of the player base is like obviously invested in still playing, right? Same thing with Apex. Like, if you look on like social media, you're gonna see a large majority of people that are just like not very happy, but like the broader player base is like pretty fucking happy, I guess. Like, if they're successful. I like to come to stream to hear everything that makes this game bad, orchestrated in a cohesive spoken thought. I mean, I think it's like sometimes cohesive. Like, it's cohesive enough, right? Like, it's not like I'm just like, I think, you know why I think I don't understand people's criticism against me is because I have seen people like get on streams or make videos where they're just bitching, right? Like they just go, this game fucking sucks, and like I don't even know why the developers have a job, and like, dude, fuck this company, like they don't ever do anything, like you know what I mean? Like where people do that kind of bitching about things. Like you can say that I bitch all the time, that's true, but you can't say that I'm bitching about nothing. You know what I mean? Like I can point to the things I'm bitching about. I can show evidence to the things that I'm bitching about. I can help explain the track record of the development studio. I can cross-reference the game's current success or like the current, you know, development timeline versus that of their competitors. I can I can do all of these things that are like fairly reasonable. They're not entirely objective. They're pretty reasonable. Mostly opinions, a little bit of objective talking points, and I can do all that, and people still are just like, all you do is bitch. And it's like, well, motherfucker, dude, you're just incapable of like coherent thinking. Like you just don't want to hear it because you love the game. So I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm bitching, but like it's not baseless. See where they're gonna go now. They're on console. Console should be the majority of the players. Yeah, I think console will be the majority of the players, but I think even that won't matter if the game's just like not very good, right? Like the console player base is kind of in this position where like their fuse is a little bit longer than ours because like the game is still new to them, right? Like the game is still new to them. They won't get super pissed until like, I don't know, probably like a year. I think like 6 months to a year, if the game's not like pretty different with like some good shit, they might just get frustrated. I'm sure someone was clipping this shit and sending it to devs. I mean, I don't even know you need to do all that. I think it's pretty irrelevant to like send the devs my talking points. They mostly know, right? Like that's the other thing too. It's not like the devs are stupid. I don't think these people are stupid. I just don't think that they have the skill, which is like, that's fine. Like you wouldn't get mad at somebody for not like winning the Super Bowl. Well, you could. Like they did their best, right? Like you're not going to get mad at what, the Baltimore Ravens because they didn't win the fucking AFC championship. Like you will, but again, it's like you'll be mad at them, but like they just didn't do good enough, right? Like they just didn't do well enough. It wasn't for lack of trying, you know? You get mad at them for not trying harder? No. I don't even think it's that. I'm not mad at them for not trying. I just think that everything they're trying is failing. I'm not mad per se. I don't even think saying I'm mad is fair. It's more of just like I'm hypercritical. Are you this critical about everything in your day-to-day, or is it passion for gaming that brings this out? I would say it's mostly gaming, but I definitely do get this way a little bit in person. Like a very tiny bit. Is Pred still early access? Yeah. What game isn't early access these days? Yeah, it's really frustrating. I think the whole like blurred lines between like development titles is so stupid and goofy. I mean, like look at my track record when it comes to talking about it, like Pokemon Unite, for example. Like Pokemon Unite's not dead because it's like hard carried by the Pokemon scene or by like the Pokemon IP, but like, dude, that game's ass. Like that game is fucking ass, man. Like so everything I said about Pokemon Unite has still mostly been true. Like I said, like the game is just like not that competitive. Like it doesn't really have a serious ranked mode. Like, you know, it's crazy. Like it's, you know, look, I'll put it this way, dude. Let me show you something. The two-time winner of Pokemon Unite Worlds made a video talking about how this game failed its potential. Like, and that's basically what I've been saying for 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like I don't have arguments and I don't die on hills when I'm usually wrong. I'll be wrong here and there for sure. But like, dude, the 2-time world champion of Pokemon Unite agrees with me. You know what I mean? I don't get it. You bitch about all the things that were really important in Unite and people didn't like you because of that. People don't like when they like something and somebody else is against it. It's just like this weird like bias thing that like humans do. Like even you can be objective and like explain yourself and people will still just be like, well, I like that thing, so it's like fuck you. It's a really stupid thing that people do. I haven't quite figured it out. And here's the thing, I'm not saying Unite's dead. Unite's not dead, but what I will show you is this. Unite is not dead. Oh, I went to Muck stream. But this is how many viewers Unite has. 1.2 thousand. Unite isn't dead. But the game could have like, I don't know, probably like 10,000 viewers and like be the Pokemon Company's biggest game. Unite just like could have been way fucking bigger. Is that a MOBA game though? Yeah, it is. It's just a shit game. It depends, because I still enjoy the game even though I hear your takes and agree with some of them. Yeah, I'm not saying, here's the thing, I don't argue against Pred or Unite or any game to convince people not to like it. I just argue from like a point of like experience. And so like if you like a game, I'm not here to tell you to stop playing it. I think if you like the game, that's awesome. Like go like ride it out, you know what I mean? I do worry that like the game in its current state or on the current trajectory just won't exist anymore. That's always my fear. Like when it comes to Pred, I'm worried that Pred won't have a game. Like this, I'm worried that this will eventually just not be a game, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's my worry. My worry is that eventually there just won't be a Pred. So I want games to reach their potential. I mean, it would be one thing for Pred to at least reach a point where it survives. And that would be good, right? But it would be much better for Pred to reach a point where it actually just fucking blows through the roof, right? That would be the best case scenario. I just don't see how that happens. So your Pred commentary is that new players will get the impression that the game isn't worth exploring because the majority a negative opinion. Well, I mean, Stats, let me ask you a question. Would you recommend playing Pred to a friend? If you're waiting for Smite 2, why not play Smite now? It's just a little overwhelming for me. I'd rather play the game whenever it has a much smaller roster. That's why I'm waiting for Smite 2 personally. Absolutely not. If I'm being honest, I promise you this is the truth. I would never recommend Pred to anybody. I would literally never recommend Pred to someone. I don't think the game is worth playing. Baby, are you still in chat? I wonder if KK, are you still here? I'm curious if you're here because I want to use her as an example. I'm like, I bought the game for my girlfriend and she just can't learn the game, so she just doesn't play it. Yes, Max recommended. Well, then you're just a mean friend. This 100% as a new player, very glad it was recommended to me. Damn. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll put it this way. I know for a fact I would never recommend Pred to someone. I just don't like it. I don't think that the game is worth their time. I don't think that the onboarding experience is very good. I think like everything about Pred, except for like the core gameplay, is like pretty poor. I'm gonna play one game and then go to bed. Yeah, I personally would not, like, knowing what I know, having the experience that I've had, I would not recommend Pred to people. I just don't think that I, like, in good conscience could do that. Actually playing well, I don't know. That's just an opinion after all. You can show them and they could like it. I mean, yeah, it's true. I could, but I don't know. Like, I have like, I hate saying this, but like, I feel like I have like high standards, and like the majority of gamers have really high standards. So like, why would I show a game to someone when I don't think that the game is fun and when I don't think that the game has a future? You know what I mean? I think you're detached from understanding the opinion of the average player. I think it doesn't matter what the opinion of the average player like thinks, because you usually kind of like well, no, that's not true. Okay, let me think of how to word that. I think the average player is often detached from like how things actually go, if that makes sense. Like, I think the average player has no fucking clue like how these companies and these businesses and these communities and these things actually run. So like the average player could literally be just like a bumbling buffoon who enjoys the gameplay but doesn't understand why the game shuts down a year later. You know what I mean? Happens all the fucking time. People are always just like super happy to play a game, and then all of a sudden it shuts down and they're like, oh man, I'm so sad. Like the average person is just not super intelligent, right? Like the average person just doesn't understand what the fuck is even happening. Which I say this all the time. Like sometimes when I argue about this game, like the average person probably can't even understand what the fuck we're talking about. Like most people just aren't actually that smart. But I digress. Aaron, I would guesstimate that the majority of people that are playing Pred are probably returning Paragon people. Like until they actually start doing like marketing pushes for free to play and stuff, I would expect the majority are like Paragon players. I don't think it's about intelligence. No, I'm not saying like the core argument is about intelligence. I'm saying like to understand the conversation, there needs to be like a reasonable amount of intelligence, and I think the majority of people don't have that. Like, there's a lot of people that truly are content with just turning this game on and playing it, but that doesn't mean that the game's going to stick around just because of that fact, right? Like, just because, like, some people anecdotally have fun on the game doesn't mean that the game is actually good enough to sustain a player base. Dude, is this a Kwong angle? I want to play Kwong. IQ diff. True. Or is this a Seraph angle? Oh, it kind of feels like a Seraph angle. I've been kind of like falling back in love with Seraph. Fuck. I don't want to play Seraph into Gadget. Why did she mirror pick a Gadget? That's so cringe. We're gonna play Rampage. I've been enjoying this like half bruiser build I've been doing lately. I've been enjoying this like half bruiser build I've been playing lately. Gadget enjoyer. Dude, Gadget's sick. I just don't like when people intentionally mirror match. It's cringe. Like you saw that the other person picked Gadget and then you were just like, yeah, that looks cool. Like, it's just weird. One of those things I don't understand. Is Ramp not bug anymore? I think he's still bugged. I don't fucking know. Last I heard, he was still bugged. Press free to play on console currently, right? I don't know. Something like Gordon Ramsay saying the local pub down the street has shit burgers and the locals enjoy it. Maybe it's about experience, but if most people enjoy the pub, then why does Gordon Ramsay opinion matter if it's not relevant to most people? Well, I mean, like, let's say, okay, so, I mean, you say the majority, but, like, are we actually talking about the majority, or are we talking about, like, a small niche community of people that enjoy it, right? Like, look at Pokemon Unite, for example. Like, I would say that the majority of people that play it enjoy it, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make it a good game. Is that game profitable? Probably. I think Pokemon Unite has hit the point where it can survive, but it's never going to reach its potential. Like, Pokemon Unite could have been like a really massive game, and now it's just kind of like a game that exists out there that you can play. So the thing with Pred is like, are the majority of people actually playing Pred enjoying it? Yeah, that's probably true, but the majority of people playing this game is still too low a number for it to have a future. So, like, does that matter? I think the answer is no. Like, I don't think it matters if the majority of people playing Pred are happy with it, because the majority of people playing Pred is still a number that's too low for them to sustain their company. So, like, you need the majority of, like, potential people playing, or people, you need the majority of people that have ever played to enjoy it. Does that make sense? Not the majority of people playing. You need the majority of people that have ever played it to enjoy the game. I think that would make a little bit more sense to say. Appreciate the dialogue. Come to see you streaming even if it's not Brad. Oh, I mean, I'll always stream something. What the fuck? I steal. No, please! I should stream both of these nuts. Someone see you launch the game? Damn, that's crazy. That's actually just crazy. Why is my Greystone just inting into the Grux right now? What killed him? What did I just watch happen? I'm so confused. How did he kill him? What the fuck, dude? Minions? That's crazy, dude. I was actually... What? What killed him? The bleed? There's no way the bleed killed him that much later. What is happening in the offlane right now, my dudes? What the fuck, dude? Oh my god, imagine being the jungler dying to the mid laner. That's crazy. What the fuck am I watching? I don't know, Bears. I don't know, dude. People enjoying the game right now aren't passionate enough to continue playing it when better options come around. I mean, that might not even be true, right? Like, there's always going to be there is someone in Pred, or even a small group of people, or like I won't say a small group of people. There is a group of people that play Pred that will play it to the very end, no matter what. If it's good, bad, or otherwise, they don't care. They will play it. But that doesn't make the game successful. Like, people, like, you know what I can't stand when people do? I can't stand when people argue with anecdotes. It annoys the fuck out of me. Like, people are like, well, I enjoyed the game, and it's like, who the fuck cares, right? Like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, arguing with anecdotes, it's got to be the most frustrating thing that humans do. They're like, well, actually, like, dude, it's, dude, I'm trying to think of good examples. People will say, like, okay, you know how there's like a lot of like red pill shit? People that argue in red pill or anti-red pill or either which side of it, they'll always say like, oh, well, I know women that think this. And it's like, cool, you know one woman or like one group of women that think XYZ thing. And it's like the same thing. Oh, well, no, I know guys that would actually love to go out with an OnlyFans girl. It's like, cool, who the fuck cares? Like, who the fuck actually gives a shit if you know like that one person that plays XYZ thing? It's like, no one cares. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So yeah, I don't know. Anecdotal argument is annoying. Smite 2 will be good, but I think people overestimate how big it'll be. I think it's irrelevant how big it'll be because it's going to be probably bigger or at least the same size as Smite 1, and which is guaranteed to be profitable and have a future, right? You think so? I guess maybe you're right until it successfully becomes a requirement. Well, yeah, I mean, it has to be successful at some point, right? Otherwise, they can't continue their company. So, like, at some point, I think becoming successful is the absolute necessity. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That poor soul. Rest my soul, Hurricane's on a roll. Yeah, I think Smite, the reason why Smite 2 is pulling me in is because I never got into Smite, and trying to get into a game that has like 100 plus gods is really overwhelming, but getting into the game on like a relaunch with a new engine at a time when the roster is going to be small is incredibly attractive. Incredibly attractive. It's like the perfect time to get into it, right? Perfect time to get into the game is Smite 2. Zero to hero, zero hero, na, 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 da, da, da. Zero to hero. Dude, why didn't he just walk away? Like, I literally had him in a position where he probably could have just walked away. Smite not worth? I mean, it's probably more worth than Pred, no? Like, I think it'd be a little silly to, like, look at Pred and look at Smite, and if I ask you which one is guaranteed to have a future, it's very obvious which one that is. I'm not saying that you should quit Pred for Smite, I'm just saying, like, it's a pretty safe fucking thing to say. You're gonna get a crowd and keep it with content coming in every 6 weeks, and that content being just one extra hero, there's no way. Yeah, this game just has like no potential chance to have a future at this pace. Like, that's what I'm saying too. That's the other thing. Like, I think if you're anyone that's played free-to-play games, you can just look at Pred's development and be like, oh yeah, that's fucked. Like, it's not complicated to look at this game's development cycle and say like, dude, there's no way. Like, it's like no game could ever sustain a player base like this. Why the fuck would Pred do it? Just because it's a Paragon remake? No, of course not. That's silly. That's goofy as fuck. But again, I don't think that people should quit Pred. If you enjoy Pred, I just envy you, if anything. Like, I want to enjoy Pred. It's just tough, and it's... What the fuck was that? Nice. Yep. I'm hearing from Pred fans at Krashy, love what you're doing, make the jungle look easy. I do my best, man. I do my best. I try to make the jungle look easy. Oh yeah, I meant to bring this up earlier too. I'm gonna try to make more content that doesn't require me to play the game. So I might be like posting in the Hunt Discord, like asking for people to like give me footage so I can do like more VOD reviews. I might do more like competitive VOD reviews. I might try to like, I might just like literally peek into the replay mode on like high rated games and like try to find some content in there. So I might just do that for a little bit. If you really enjoy Smite 2 or Project Loki, do you see yourself being done with Pred? Yeah, I think as soon, like, so here's what happens with me. I play a game, if I instantly feel captivated by the game, I just leave whatever I was playing before. So like, I was playing Unite, I was like streaming, making content for Unite. Pretty much as soon as I recognized that I was like really getting into Pred, I just made the full swap. Like, yeah. Played Smite 4 years ago and it's hard for me to understand, but playing Pred helped me understand how the game is played. So excited for Smite 2 as well. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited for what the fuck? I'm excited for Smite 2 because it's a fresh start on a guaranteed to have a future MOBA. Like, that's fucking sick, dude. Woo! Yo, get fucked. Crash, bang, boom, these, you know what I mean? Crash, bang, boom, these. Excited, dude. I think that would help with exposure for Pred, but people will not give you props there. I don't think Smite 2 coming out is going to give exposure for Pred. I really don't. I think it yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could, but I don't think that would matter. I think people would just rather play Pred. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I think it's going to bury Pred too. I think people are going to be like, "Oh, third-person MOBA, let's try Smite again." Like, I don't see how it could possibly like not just bury Pred and OP. No, you watching replays and VODs? Oh yeah. I mean, I want to watch replays and VODs because I want to keep making. So here's my thing. I was literally talking to Soul Reaper about this. He can corroborate me, or he can corroborate this. I really want to quit Pred. Like, I was thinking about just like, all right, I think I'm gonna quit, like fully quit. I just don't know how, because the problem is I have a hard time quitting something if I don't have something else to take its place. Like, I have a really hard time quitting something when there's not something very like clearly for it to take its place. So yeah, that's kind of my like current position. I really do want to quit the game. I just like don't really know how yet. So I think I'm mostly just waiting. Mostly just waiting. I'm probably just gonna ride it out until like another game grabs me. Like Dead by Daylight? Nah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. The power of the orb is mine. The power of the fucking orb is mine. Come here. That was an awkward angle. Not gonna lie about it. Fuck you. I proxy wave. What's Crunch doing back here? Oh hey, that's cool. Oh god, I just fucked up. I fucked up. I missed my rock. That's super cringe. I missed my rock. That was cringe. I fucked up, buddy. Pred 2 win. Damn, dude. I could have lived there if I would have literally hit my rock. I just fucking panicked through it. Shitting my pants over there. Shitting, just straight pooping my pants. No. You ever played Genesis? Nah. Thousands of hours on Smite will be very marginal update in terms of making the actual game different or fun. I disagree. I think it's going to be a pretty big update for Smite. Whole new engine opens the door for what they could potentially do with the game. They're going to a different item system. They, are remaking heroes, which I don't know if that necessarily means reworks, but they're starting the roster small, so like it opens the door for people to want to get involved. I think Smite 2 is going to be pretty successful. I do think that Smite 2 is going to be pretty fucking successful. Some small reworks, that's nice. I mean, I think regardless, the quality of the game is just going to be better. It's like, the reason why I think Smite looks like shit, and I've always kind of stayed away from it, is because it, like, looks like shit, looks old, but, I mean, I don't know that I'll be able to say that, so... You know? I don't know. Smite 2 looks very promising. I'll put it this way. What reason do I have to play Pred over Smite? And if the only thing you could say is like potential verticality, like I think that's a fair excuse, but like there's not really like there's not a lot of good reasons. Like the game just doesn't like the game like the problem with Pred is that it's not a game. It's literally not a game. It's a game concept that has good gameplay, but it has like nothing else. It's just not a game. It's just not a game yet, man. Did I miss that? That's disappointing. Thought I hit that. Very polar opinions here. What's that? I think they're literally just gonna fucking rip this dumb shit. Oh, hey. That's nice.
Allied tower under attack.
Na 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 na. Let's be patient here. It's a game, but it's not a game. It's just like, I think people, I'm always very intentional with saying like it is or isn't a game. Like it's a game because like, yeah, they're developing a game, but it's literally a game that has like no game, no structure to be a full product. Like it's just such an unfinished product that there's like, you can't really look at it as more than that. Oh, I think he crashed. That's super disappointing. That's unfortunate for that guy. That's just literally, like, I'm pretty sure he literally just like crashed. Like, I don't know. That's unfortunate. Try to change topic. You think Razorback Crest is good on Kwong? Not particularly. I think it's okay on Kwong. Like, if you're going full tank, like, that could be an okay option. Or some armors. Even for early access? What? Wait, what's the question? Is that about what I just said? Like, I think early access is like mostly just cope at this point. Like the fact that the game is still early access doesn't actually mean anything anymore. Actually play a polished game with potential. Seems like Smite 2 will definitely have a different turnout compared to Unite and Pred. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna like Smite 2, but I'm gonna try it for sure. If the game grabs me, then dude, that's where I'll be. If heroes don't carry over in Smite 2, I mean, they're not. I'm pretty sure that information's already out there. Like, they're not gonna just like carry over. I don't know. What do I want to build? Do I want Tainted here? I kind of do. I think I'm gonna double Tainted this beach. I want double Tainted this beach. They gotta rebuild everything, so. Blossom Dreambinder. Voidhelm Worldbreaker. That's pretty tanky. That's pretty tanky. Yeah, this game is just a game mode and a concept, man. Like, they just gotta finish this game, dude. Like, I don't know. You know, as pessimistic as I am, I do still obviously see the potential this game has and think that they could turn it around. I just think it takes like, I think it takes them like being bold or something, like hire more people, like throw some money at the project, like, you know, like have a higher like work standard, like change things up internally, or I don't know what it is, dude. I think they just have to, just change. They have to change, man. Gotta change. This game be over. This game be over.
Enemy towers destroyed. Allied tower under attack.
I mean, the irony of like people liking like arena and shit is because it's casual. Like, people enjoy this kind of content, like this kind of combat and like fighting and shit, but they don't always want to play like a super sweaty mode. Like, I totally fuck with the idea of like, you know what I like about Smite? When you boot up the game, it's not even obvious like that Conquest is like the main mode. Like, you just play whatever you want to fucking play. Like, that's such a, like a W fucking, like, it's like a Chad development move. Like, when your gameplay and your game is so good that you don't even have to like pigeonhole them into a game. You pick for yourself what the competitive like ranked serious mode is, and then you just give players options, right? Like, you just say like, hey, this is a fun game mode we made, like, play it if you like it, right? Yeah, like, dude, like, here's the thing. What you need for a game to be successful is players. You don't need players playing the 5v5, you know, sweat mode. Like, I mean, I know that Pred's making like a casual mode. We know, right? Like, obviously, I'm not saying like hurry up and make that. It's just like, it's definitely one thing that'll help. Helps with the onboarding, helps give people a reason to play the characters they like and enjoy without having to be invested in like ranked. Because the thing is like, even though this game doesn't have ranked, people definitely treat every match like it's super serious, because what else are we supposed to do? Not? Wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense to treat this game like it's not serious, because, you know, taking this game seriously is kind of like all the fuck we have. There isn't shit else to do in the game, so... I'm definitely, I promise you this, I'm definitely not playing the game and grinding affinity, right? Like, that's just, I don't look at my affinity. I don't care what my affinity is. The affinity was kind of just an L. It's like cool that there's shit to play for, but it's like, I don't know. They fucked it up. They fucked it up, bro. They fucked it up. You don't do fucking nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Come here, bitch. I'm coming for that ass. I'm coming for that ass. You'll do fucking nothing. Who the fuck is that guy? Ow. It hurts. I'll be back. I'll be back. Decent Connor impression, thanks. I appreciate you. I do what I can. I do what I can. Ugh. I have friends that only play arenas and think they're good at MOBAs. That's funny. I mean, like, as long as they're having fun, though, right? As long as they're having fun, and as long as some of them spend money. That's the true test, right? Like, it doesn't actually matter if they're good. It doesn't matter if they're like getting into ranked. Like, none of that shit matters as long as they're having fun, and you know they're you know some of them are converted into paying customers. What dev stream did we rewatch? We rewatched the one from just about 4 months ago. TLDR. They said a lot of things they want to work on. None of it has been done, basically. I mean, there's been like a couple of things. Like, they said they wanted to add more items. They accomplished that. Oh, that was a bad rock throw. I ain't gonna lie about that one. They said they wanted to add more items. That was accomplished, yeah. But more or less, a lot of the things they said they wanted to do did not get done. That's the TLDR. Still isn't item art 1.5 years in. I forget about that, honestly. Here for the impression. So, well, listen, quite frankly, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you, because this is very important. Predecessor, I played the game. I played a lot of MOBAs. I played a lot of games. And quite frankly, this is one of the slowest games. You know, I know a lot of developers. I've played with them. I've spoken to the devs. I've spoken to all the people. Very slow game, you know. You know, you have Sleepy. Robbie, sleepy Robbie. He's at the helm. He's the leader, you know. They like to call him the CEO, the president. Some would say he's the president. Sleepy Robbie never gets things done. I'm going to tell you right now, quite frankly. All right, that's all. I don't mean to shit on Robbie. I'm just having fun with the Trump impression. Sleepy Robbie, dude. They had fun in arenas because it gave them the false impression that they were decent. Well, did y'all look at the did y'all see the most recent like matchmaking report from Call of Duty? I thought it was incredibly telling. It actually perfectly ties into where Pred is, right? So look at the recent Reddit post made by Krashy and stumbled upon the Krashy rage set for Infinite Crisis you made 9 years ago. Dude, you know what's funny about Omega, do you know the story about how Infinite Crisis ended? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you the quick version. There was a night about 2 years into Infinite Crisis being playable, and I was, dude, this is, first of all, keep in mind, this is like 9-10 years ago, right? I was the exact same way in Infinite Crisis that I am now. People thought I was super negative. They just said I was a hater. They called me a doom and gloomer. All I did was bitch. All I did was moan. And you know what I said about Infinite Crisis? I said, dude, this game's gonna die. If they don't fix these issues, this game's gonna die. There was a podcast. It was called Podcast Prime. And it was the host of the show, it was me and one of my teammates, and it was 2 people from another team that were teammates. And I'm on the show talking about, me and my teammate are talking about all the changes they need to make, how it's important that they change it. If they don't, the game's going to die. And the other 2 people are like, oh, the game's good. Like, they're finally getting their footing. Like, things are going good. Like, it's not going to die. And one of the guys goes, he like kind of popped off. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of like, all you do is bitch. This game is not going to die. Like, it's doing well. You just need to be patient. Blah, 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 blah. We woke up the next morning. They announced the game was shutting down. True story. Woke up the next morning, they announced the game was shutting down. That's how Infinite Crisis ended for me. What do they have to say then? I mean, there's nothing to say. Everybody's just sad. Here's the thing: is this on YouTube? What, the history of it? Yeah, it's true. You can go find the podcast. You can find the date, and you can corroborate it to the date that they announced the game was shutting down. I've showed it off on stream before. It's a little bit of work, but yeah, you can find it. The podcast, what, the old podcast, like the Podcast Prime episode? Yeah, you can find it. Oh yeah, COD matchmaking. So COD matchmaking, they did a report, and here's the TLDR of COD matchmaking. Everybody has, what was it called? It was called Podcast Prime. You have to look for it. Podcast Prime, look up like Infinite Crisis. You'll have to look for it. It's the episode with me, JBJ, Cow, and Katy Perry. That's like the TLDRs, or like that's how you can find it. Katy Perry, Cow, me, JBJ, and then Blade Lord Cal. So here's the thing with COD. For a long time now, people have been saying like, oh, skill-based matchmaking ruins COD, like it ruins the game, blah, 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 blah. But everybody has been mostly speculating, well, like the reason why they keep skill-based matchmaking in pubs is because it's better for player retention, right? Like if you let the noobs get stomped by good people, they don't want to play anymore, right? So here's the truth. That's true. So now COD has come out and basically confirmed it. Like, hey, we have the data. When skill-based matchmaking isn't present, it's like harder for us to retain players. So the funny thing is that like, while it is a pain for the like higher skill community, while it is fucking terrible for a lot of people that don't like it, the data suggests that it's the best thing for them to do for their business. The irony and the reason why I bring it up at all is because if you look at Pred in its current situation, there's no skill-based matchmaking. What's gonna happen is that people aren't gonna want to fucking play Pred because there's no good matchmaking. So like without good matchmaking, like no one's having a good time. The shitter players get stomped and then they inevitably will quit, or like some of them will quit. So like, while like skill-based matchmaking in pubs like feels like a shitty thing because you just are forced to sweat all the time, it's like actually better for retention. Like it's like there's like COD has like proven data, it's just better for retention. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You were a baby? Dude, fuck, now I want to look it up. If I play a game for fun, skill-based matchmaking blows, I agree. Yeah, it sucks. I think it fucking sucks. Like, it literally sucks to not even be playing ranked and be in ranked ass lobbies. It's so fucking frustrating. High rated players don't like farming low skill players either, by the way. I mean, if you're playing pubs for fun, they do, but like if you're actually like playing ranked and it's like shitty matchmaking, yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, I don't know, man. Actually, I'm curious what that last game looked like. I'm just genuinely curious. Omeda City, Omeda City, Omeda, Omeda. +4. Oops, that's probably not great. That's probably not a well-made game. At +4, it's probably not great. It's just really low. It's actually not that terrible. It's like 100. Oh my god, dude, it's so low. It's so low. 14s and 13s, that's rough, dude. That's rough. Jungle Krashy prevails. Omeda. Quality impression, thank you. Listen, when I play steel, I'm gonna tell you right now, I like to max the wall. You know, I like to lower the cooldown. It's got a very long cooldown, and I like to block the projectiles, you know. Because quite frankly, at the border, when we're talking about the border, you know, we need to build the wall. We need to protect the wall. We need to defend the border. Obviously, it's like very caricature, and I don't really sound like him, but it's fun. Is the player base even big enough to add ranked? No, not really, but like, it's like a weird like chicken and the egg kind of scenario, right? Like if you never have ranked in a MOBA, then like who the fuck plays that MOBA? So I think there's like reasonable ways to add ranked, right? Like if you want to do like a beta ranked season, the way that you do it is like you just run ranked like 2 nights a week. Like I think that's like a fair way to run ranked for like a beta season, you know? Yeah. That's what I would do personally. That's what I would do. I would run ranked on like a Wednesday night and like a Saturday night. So you can get like a Wednesday, you can get like a weeknight person, you can get like a weekend person, or both. And then it's just like a test season, right? It's like it gives them a chance to test out draft, it gives them a chance to test out the reward structure, like the, you know, like how the system like matchmaking is working. It gives them a test. And that's what I would do. And honestly, because it's like early access, you could even like turn off the queues for everything else. Like you could just force the player base to play ranked that night. Like would that piss some people off? Like yeah, maybe, but guess what, not having ranked also pisses people off. So I don't know, I think that might be a little extreme, but it could be something to do. Yeah, I think, and if you did that, I would run it in the evenings. Like yeah, people that work overnights, they're pretty fucked, but like those people are always fucked, right? I don't know. I think people that work overnights have it rough. Like that's a tough one, man. It's tough to be an overnight worker. Like your life is just different than everybody else's. Like what can you do? My life just twisted upside down. But all right, I should probably go to bed. It's almost midnight. I work overnights. In fact, fuck, dude. I'm sorry. Shit sucks. One of my exes worked overnights, and like me and her like never saw each other. And then she cheated on me. So it's like, it's probably why. I blame the overnights. I blame the overnights. She was bored. It's not her fault. It was a long time ago. I don't actually give a fuck. I just thought it was funny. I blame the overnights. She got bored. It's not her fault. I wake up early and get no sleep from my girlfriend. Damn, that's unlucky, dude. That is unlucky for you. I mean, it's nice for her. It's really nice. But like unlucky for you, dude. Fucking simp. You fucking simp. Wait, is that a banned Twitch word? I don't even fucking know. Are you allowed to say that on Twitch? Imagine being able to like show like half your tits, but like not being able to say the word simp. I don't know. Very nice, but she appreciates that. Yeah, I'm sure she appreciates it too, KK. Never gonna catch me simping. Nope, not this guy. Now I'm just being intentionally an asshole. Now I'm just intentionally being an ass. We shall see. We shall see, baby. We shall see. You're trying to change me. Stop trying to change me, KK. You'll still what? I'll still what, huh? What will I do? You'll still simp? Nah. Nah. I need to go to bed. It's late. Fuck. I had a lot of fun. I streamed for 4 hours and only played one game of Pred. I don't want to do that every night. I can't do that every night though. It's not, well, first of all, I don't want to stream every night, but I can't do that. Like I don't want to just flame the game every day. Tonight wasn't even supposed to be a flamey day. It was just meant for me to like look back and kind of compare and contrast what has been done versus what they said was going to get done. But I already kind of knew that, no? I literally watched this earlier. Like, I watched like half of that podcast or like that stream at work, and then I watched like the other half of it while I was in the car driving to go get my tire. Dude, I'm so excited about the deal I got on my tires, which I just didn't know that this existed, but I bought insurance on my punctured tire at Discount Tire. So then I bought the insurance for it, and then they replaced my tire for free. Well, for free, right? For free, because I paid for the insurance. Then I spent the money for the labor, and then I spent money to insure all my tires. Pretty fucking dope. If I wouldn't have done that, it would have costed me like a couple $100 less than what I paid for like a tire with no insurance on all 4 of my tires. Fucking sick, dude. Discount Tire, they got it figured out. I fuck with Discount Tire. I fuck with Discount Tire, man. They've got that shit figured out. They've got that shit figured out. All right. I'm gonna do what I think Sorry Per someone said. I'm gonna pick somebody that has a webcam, and we're gonna rate him. Ooh, Rizbro. I bump into him all the time. I don't really know much about him, so hopefully he's chill. But y'all go hang out. Y'all go hang out with Rizbro. I'm gonna rate him, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Thanks for hanging out with me, YouTube people. I fuck with you. Yeah, man. Live your best lives. Rizbro is currently playing like a pretty like cool tanky bruiser Kwong build, so that's cool. Yeah. All right. See y'all later. Have a good night. Bye.